loses sharp minds enthrall. Gamers play, this never ends. SSL, where legends play. SSL, we fight tonight. Battles in the storyline. From the shadows to the dream, we are the SOOP StarCraft League. We are the SOOP StarCraft League. Ooh.
로또스의 기적을, 가을의 기적을 불어놓은 절대신 유일신 지난 시즌에 이어서 이호 선수가 우승을
이호 선수가 최초로 3회 연속 우승.
트로토스 황제에서 ASL 황제를 거둔는 성윤용 선수가 왔습니다. 어게인 2010 시즌 6 우승! 알파고 김성현 더더욱 완벽해진 모습으로 ASL 4회 우승 역사를 새롭게 쓴 선수가 나왔습니다.
또 다른 저그의 출연을 드디어 김명호 선수가. 김명호 선수도 정 최초 2연속 우승을.
이몽규 선수가 바닥부터 시작해서 ASL 우승자가
변현재 선수가 드디어 가을의 주인공이.
이재호 선수 4대 완승이 만들어질 수 있었던 것 같습니다.
김지성이 꿈꾸는 왕국 테란의 새로운 왕조는
이 선수가 트로피를 이렇게 들어올릴 거라고는 아무도 상상 못했거든요.
14번 시즌 도전 만에 절벽을 올려서 완벽으로
새로운 자신의 역사, 새로운 ASL 안에서의 역사를 만들어냅니다.
A6 ASL 결승전 대결 변현재와 김민철
위협적인 저그전 프로토스. 이분명이에요. 끝도 없어요.
우승 김민철 시즌 17 절정의 두 저그들이 결승 무대 시즌
2회 연속 우승.
2024 숲자리가 어텀
오히려 잘하십니다.
와
지금의 김민철 선수를 이길 수 있을까?
김민철 선수한테 엄청난 대기록을 세울 준비가 좀 끝났습니다. 아프리카 스타리그 대납전
정말 오랜만에 열린 대회이기 때문에
여러분이 보고 계신 조기선 선수의 결승 진출에
한사람이라는 게 사람을 바꾸는 것.
2024 숲자리그 어텀 새로운 시즌 저를 진짜 잘 써요.
과감한 선택.
멈추지 않는 조기선 선수의 상승세 계속 달리고 있어요. 시즌 17시즌 만에 결승 진출.
이제 새로운 출발이라고 느낄 수 있는 우승을 해볼 차례가 됐다.
Hello and welcome to the long-awaited grand final of 2024 SOOP StarLeague Autumn. Who will become the main protagonist on this stage? Will it be Sharp, who's made it into the finals once again after 17 seasons following his grand final appearance in the very first ASL? Or will it be SoulKey, the living Zerg legend, scoring a finals victory against each race to claim a three-peat? Truly, a lot of things are on the line today. Let's talk to our players. SoulKey, your opponent is Sharp. You've had a week since advancing through the round of 4. As you practiced during that time, did you get the conviction that you can achieve this three-peat? However you look at it, I've had to go through really prominent opponents. So for this grand final, I am filled with confidence. Prominent opponents, so that means Sharp, you are not prominent, you are subpar. SoulKey says with a smile on his face, as he's had to defeat very tough opponents to get here. On this grand final stage, Sharp, you have to be up for the challenge. Well, naturally, I am weak in comparison with SoulKey, all things considered. If I was SoulKey, I would also see myself as easy and that I would try even harder. But for me, I just want to play a match I won't live to regret, so having confidence will be important. It's been 8 years since you played in the grand final for your first time, and back then, you were 25. And 8 years have passed since, now that you're in the finals again. But if you don't manage to win today, that means the next time you're in the finals, you will be 41. Right. It's taken a long time. And if you can't win today, it might once again take a long time. How is it personally? Is this a season of determination? I'm very happy and content that I've managed to make it all the way to the big stage, but the mental attitude I've had was to just play without any regrets. And again, I don't want to have any remorse playing today. Your opponent is SoulKey, the Wall. With a championship run last season, he's reached a level of perfection. As things are, he has no flaws. The one and only to win championships, even if you lose the first set. Truly a one-of-a-kind player. How can you overcome him? Let's start with the fact his mentality is on point. I looked back at the seasons he won and I got the feeling his mentality was really strong. But now the way I see it, he will be thinking to himself, this will be a 4-0 victory. So if I manage to take 1 or 2 games off, I might be able to scratch away at that confident mentality. SoulKey, Sharp is coming here with an ardent effort in his analysis of you. If he takes a game in the first half, he sees it possible to change the flow of the match, put a scratch, the wall might start to crack. What do you think? Even when I lost 1 or 2 games, my mentality would never falter. I don't think I'll be too phased. But I don't think I'll win with a 4-0. I didn't come here thinking that. It might be a 4-1, 4-2. So there is no chance of you suffering a defeat today. With the data you collected through practice, not even a 1% chance of you losing. Whatever comes, that trophy will be mine. SoulKey sees himself as the champion already. Sharp, what do you think? This is a really difficult opponent. But there is so many fans in the studio today and people coming down to cheer for you as well. What kind of a match will this be? I am a challenger on this stage. I honestly think this is the toughest opponent I've had to face off against in recent times. But I won't be scared. I will show you what I've got. So you're saying you're not nervous, you're not shaken in the slightest? That's right. Okay, any words for SoulKey then? I genuinely think SoulKey plays better than anyone. He is at the peak, but I will not let the name of SoulKey scare me. He's just an ordinary Zerg. Sharp says he will step over the peak, the summit, and ascend. What do you say to that? Sharp is an opponent I've beaten a lot in day-to-day games. With this being a grand final, I'll not be careless and do my best. The grand final awaits. A lot of things are on the line. A championship after 8 years, or 3 championships in a row to set a new record as a Zerg legend. All that is left is this match. Put your hands together and make some noise. It's time to start the grand final.
Heartbeats pounding, can you feel? Moment frozen, this is real. Player on the field so strong, running fast, can't go wrong. Whistle blows, it's time to play. Nothing stands in our way.
Surpassing limits on the road towards 3 back-to-back championships. Advancing to the finals, I had an easy time, so it really didn't feel all that poetic, but it's the finals, so it feels good to advance. The end of a long wait. Grand finals after 2,976 days. I simply wanted to play matches without regrets. It feels fresh, feels different to be making the finals. I'm very happy. I was the runner-up in Season 1 of ASL. People said I was doing well in Season 6, 7, 8, but then in Seasons 11, 12, 13, 14, I got knocked out in the round of 16, round of 24, the qualifiers. I thought to myself, I really need to step it up. Why can't I show what I've got? I got rid of these thoughts and it worked out for the best. Starting with seeds, both advanced in first place. Our Group D was the group of death, so I lowered my expectations. Let's play games without any regrets. I fixed my mentality, suddenly luck was on my side, and I gained strength. Round of 16 matches are always nerve-wracking. There are so many variables at play, but I always have confidence in my skills. Things went better than expected. Hot and cold in the round of 8 bracket. ENG did a great job with the bracket draw, personally. The other side of the bracket had super strong players, so much so everyone on this side could think we could all make the finals. I wanted to go to the right side of the bracket, but it's not like I wasn't confident. I think the round of 8 was the biggest moment of crisis. Of all the people, I had to play light. I thought, if I falter here, I can get knocked out. Beating this best player gave me confidence, and overcoming him felt like a championship run already. Let's just get our revenge on Hero, I thought. My mentality was very weak last season, but this time, regardless of the score, I thought let's just play the best I can. I think that made my opponents lose focus, and the games worked out much better. Strongest Protoss opponents in the semi-finals. Snow is the best out of the Protoss players in my view. I was a little uncomfortable, but ZVP, I can win even if my form isn't that good. I said that once and then had to give proof. I prepared a lot and the result wasn't bad. All the players, when I ran into Rain 2, they all predicted Rain would win. The reason is probably because my online form hasn't been good, I was nervous, but I won the difficult maps, and even though my strategy was countered in set 3, I quickly forgot all about that and focused on the other games, and those went well. SoulKey versus Sharp. SoulKey is shooting for a 3-peat. He'll be thinking that he can't lose against me, but however you look at it, he's my natural predator. I think Sharp's versus Zerg is weak. I don't think he plays that well, but he does surprisingly well offline. With how he defeated Hero in the round of 8, I can see his TVZ has improved. I'll have to make sure not to get sloppy in the match. He is the best Zerg in existence. My aim is to take down this best Zerg in existence. Learning other Terrans' TVZ habits, researching their playstyle, I might be able to find a breakthrough. Getting a championship here would carry a lot of significance. 3 championships in a row, and the first title in the SSL. There's a lot to be gained. I am hungry. When SoulKey got his first championship, it was against Protoss. The second time, against Zerg. I want to punch through SoulKey the wall as the last standing Terran. A 70% chance of winning the finals would be modest. If I'm honest, I think it's 99%. I'm confident in versus Terran, but the thing that gives me the most confidence is the fact that my opponent is Sharp. Sharp, I'll show you why I'm your natural enemy. I remember very well how happy SoulKey was to see me advance. I was more diligent in practice than anyone. To me, more than anyone, this stage is so precious. It'll be so difficult, but I will stop SoulKey from getting a 3-peat. I would like to once again say I'm grateful to the fans who encouraged me. It seems I've had a great storyline this season, and to bring this storyline to a close, I need to win the championship this season. I want to make this one stay in people's memories. I'm always thankful to the fans for their support. The first Zerg to win 3 championships in a row. I want to do what nobody has done before. I'll show you a good performance in the finals as well.
stand tall in the night. Our hearts shine so bright. Through battles and through fight, we find our way.
What is up, everybody? Welcome to the finals of the SSL or ASL Season 18. What an incredible finals this is going to be. Truly a David versus Goliath match.
It is indeed. I cannot wait to see what Sharp has cooked up here to go against SoulKey, who is making a run towards maybe Bonjour's status. It's pretty crazy what he's done. He's won 2 seasons in a row. He's going for his 3rd, and without any doubt, he is the favorite going in here tonight.
Yeah, just an unusual matchup having Sharp here. I mean, Sharp's had an incredible run. It's been phenomenal to see how well he's played. It's been upset after upset after upset. It's undeniable that he is in the best condition we've ever seen. But at the same time, SoulKey seems to be almost otherworldly in his ability to execute the strategies he's divining here. The fact that even you and I, who are able to see everything on the map, can't always follow exactly what he's going to do because he can juke and jive strategically so well. I think it's either going to be really close and either player could take it, or it's going to be a one-sided SoulKey victory.
Yeah, you can't see a world in which Sharp just destroys SoulKey because literally nobody can do that. Like, maybe if we had a Zerg versus Zerg, we could see some one-sided games, but I feel like this is a series where if you're not prepped way beyond SoulKey, which seems impossible, it becomes impossible anyways, because SoulKey seems to have one of the best strategic understandings that exists within this game.
I agree. I think SoulKey is at the point where he looks very similar to Flash.
Yes.
Where, when we're casting the games, I look at it and I go, oh, how do you stop that?
Yeah.
Maybe when I was looking at Flash, maybe Terran is too strong. Now I'm looking at Zerg. Maybe Zerg is too good. I don't know. SoulKey seems to have figured it out. And so it's going to be a real uphill battle here for Sharp. Sharp has still brought that very tactical style and made it work. He had some fantastic games in the round of 4 and won in some pretty hard-fought games. The question's really going to be, is SoulKey going to be able to sidestep that aggression like he's done before, or is Sharp going to be able to pierce that armor, get through there, and start to garner those wins?
So I've thought a lot about this series, and I've thought a lot about how to possibly beat the types of games SoulKey is bringing. I think you have to take a lot of Sharp turns in your play here as Sharp. I think that Sharp needs to do center barracks play at least a few times in this series. I think he needs to do really crazy transitions, whether that's like a mech transition or like a drop ship all in. The one thing I know for a fact is he is not going to win toe-to-toe macro games against SoulKey. It's just not going to happen. No one can do it. Like, you saw Light. Light was playing excellent games, and SoulKey's like, I don't know, I attack moved you and you died. And it's like, well, Sharp is not better at macro than Light, so let's just avoid that type of game.
Yeah, I like the point that you made there. I think he's going to have to get in with some very specific builds and try to surprise things, maybe try to take control of what's happening. You know that SoulKey's got this range of play that's it's really hard to wrap your head around because he seems like he can kind of do anything. He'll be really cheesy in one game, then he'll be really standard and straight up in another. He can do macro styles, he can do crazy Zerg and weird stuff like that. So this is going to be a really interesting series to explore the whole matchup and see how these guys are going to approach it. And keep in mind, in the background, Flash has returned.
Yes.
Flash is now back. He's been streaming. I've been poking my head in there and watching his games. He's looking phenomenal, which means this is probably the last StarLeague we're going to have where he's not in it.
Yes.
I'm not saying I think he could easily come back and dominate and take over. We don't know. We're going to find out. That's why we run these tournaments. But for these two players, this is important because when Flash returns, he's always the favorite, right? You've always got to consider him as the guy who's going to take it. So there's a lot on the line for these two. And the fact is, if SoulKey can win this, that's 3 StarLeagues in a row. That's unheard of, especially in the modern era of StarCraft.
Yeah.
So that would be something where we would have to reevaluate, is this guy, truly like at a Bonjour level?
Yeah, and I think he will be, to be honest. Like, that's one of the most impressive things. And you know what? If he does win here, I mean, how many years do you have to dominate for? That's a year and a half straight of SoulKey winning everything, which is pretty wild. Well, we're getting ready to go into set 1. It's going to be on Pantheon to start this 7-game series, followed by Dominator, Deja Vu, Kickback, Minstrel, Monty Hall in set 6, and then Radeon, if we get there, as the decider. I love this map order, actually. This is a really, really cool map order.
It's going to get crazier the deeper it gets if we actually do get that far. I do think there is a realistic world where SoulKey might just dominate and win, you know, several matches right in a row and walk out of here. I hope that's not going to be the case here. But yeah, Pantheon, Dominator, Deja Vu, and Kickback for the first 4 maps here. So, all right. Enough speculating. Guys, we're going to go right into game 1 here in the finals of the SSL here to decide who is currently the best StarCraft player in the world. Okay, so Sharp here in the bottom left, SoulKey in the top right. We've had a lot of really exciting games from Sharp where he's proving that he can, you know, take down even the scariest Zerg players. If he could, in a couple of these games, you know, in kind of a macro game, drops, you know, pushes, stuff like that, come out and beat SoulKey, that would be insane. Because SoulKey really... every attack, every strategy so far that we've seen in the last maybe 18 months, it's like it rolls off him like water on a duck's back.
Yeah.
You know, he just seems to navigate through it so easily. So I'm very curious about the openings here, but I also want to see, you know, can Sharp hang with the scariest Zerg that there is right now?
Yeah, well, he beat Hero, and that's a big deal because Hero is kind of a similar level to SoulKey. SoulKey obviously is the one that won the championships, but Hero has been up in basically top 4 like endlessly in ASL, and I think they play somewhat similarly. But if you look at that series, a lot of that was Sharp just hitting sunken busts, which that is a big part of the metagame right now because you have players like SoulKey and Hero who are so good on Hive Tech that you just, literally no one knows how to stop it. To the point, as you said, right, Flash is back playing. And one of the first things that people have realized is his Terran vs. Zergs, he either does really aggro stuff or he does stuff like mech switches right now because it's so hard to break through Defiler Tech. So that is the one, if I could just give Sharp one piece of advice, do not go for late-game SK Terran. I don't think you can beat SoulKey with Marine Medic Science Vessel over the long term. I don't think anyone can do it.
Yeah, well, we're in a phase right now where the late game may just be too undesirable for Terrans when you've got, you know, players like Hero, players like SoulKey. Where you're either going to have to try to avoid it entirely, in other words, win the game quickly, or you're going to have to play a very different late game, right? Like those mech switches we were talking about that Flash is, you know, he was doing a long time ago, and they've kind of come back into style. But, you know, we're in one of these moments where, you know, SoulKey, when I cast his games, there's so many moments where I just go, God, I don't know how to stop that. He really is looking bulletproof.
Yeah, I literally don't know. Like that, the scariest thing I've ever seen was that game against Light on Kickback, where Light macros perfectly, gets his upgrades quickly. SoulKey just sits there the entire game, and then attack moves with Ultralisks and wins. And it's like, wait, what? Like, you're not supposed to be able to cause a math problem without any sort of harassment. You know, like, this is something that we occasionally talk about, and normally it comes up with carriers where, like, okay, well, the carriers get to this number, and these certain things have happened. It becomes more of a math problem where it's like you just don't have enough to stop them. But to see that in a game where nothing happened, where both players were able to do what they wanted, was, like, very scary. So... yeah, I am a little bit nervous for Sharp, but he's a smart guy. I think he's going to come in with some very strong plans. And taking a look at this game, it looks like standard 2-hatch play from SoulKey. Sharp is keeping that SCV alive. He's producing really heavily off of his first barracks and kind of walking around with the Marines. He's looking if he can like catch an Overlord or something, but nothing really out of the ordinary occurring in this game right now.
Yeah, it's that layer tech coming along here. The SCV is going to be finally killed off. Now remember, you know, the longer you keep that SCV, the more confident you are about what the Zerg is doing. We have the Spire coming down here. This is looking like a very straightforward game here. You know, you were talking about that game on Kickback, Artosis. I think the game that strikes me the most was the game, I think it was versus Rush.
Okay.
With SoulKey doing this, where he like tricked him into thinking it was a lurker bust so bad that like he had like 3 bunkers at the entrance and it was never going to be that, you know. And it's man, you're tricking this guy of all people.
Yeah, and don't forget the game on this map where SoulKey went for the hidden hatchery at the mineral only base against Light to go crazy Zerg, and then lost like every drone, and then just came back and won, and lost every Overlord. Remember that? Like the Valkyries fool around, killed every Overlord. There's a huge drop in the main, lost a bunch of his tech buildings, and he's like, no, it's no problem.
Yeah, you know, one of the things about the matchup TVZ, when you play a lot of StarCraft and kind of experience it firsthand, is how delicate both the races are at times. Yeah. Like there's just a high level of fragility. But SoulKey just looks so robust, even in these moments of like real vulnerability, and is able to recover so well. You know, a lot of games you can look at, in general with Zerg, you can look and go, well, you know, did he lose too many drones here? Or, you know, if you're a really bad player, did you just overmake drones and not, you know, activate, you know, your game when you had the opportunity? But SoulKey can like lose a lot of drones and actually kind of fight his way back through it. It's really remarkable.
His strategy is just impeccable. It's impeccable. He plays the game. You know, there's a little bit of like an argument. What is StarCraft really like? And a lot of people like to liken it to chess. I really like to liken it to poker. And I feel like SoulKey is maybe the best player at playing StarCraft like it's poker, where he's concealing his hand very often and going all in occasionally and maintaining an image but still being very solid. It's a beautiful thing to see.
Yeah, I want to expand off that idea that you just said, because that might be confusing to people because they're going to look at that and be like, it's a card game. How could that possibly be? If you look at the hand like it's both the map and then the build order and like how you're playing it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's a really essential part of StarCraft that I think a lot of fans of the game really appreciate. Okay, he's actually going to do a dive on the bunker.
Wow.
This is interesting. The bunker's going to go down. You very rarely ever see that. I can't even think of a game where I've seen a move like that, but it did actually kill the bunker off. Now, remember that, you know, the bunker can be remade. It's not like he got a kill on the Marines, but he's basically already starting to soften up the defenses here at the entrance, which makes counterattacks that much stronger if there's an opening for that.
That was kind of a nifty move. He really, like, that shows how decisive SoulKey's ready to be here today as well, which is a little bit frightening. The fact that he jumps on that with so few mutas and lings, he's like, oh, there's only 2 Marines in that bunker, no problem. I can kill that losing like 1 ling. And he does it. And it's just like, damn, man, like looking really good already here in the first set. But Sharp, you know, he's done a very strong build. He's gone for the 4 barracks +1. He is adding his factory. It's like slightly late, but that's okay because he's going to try to apply a lot of pressure with this. But this is where SoulKey differentiates himself in the mid game from every other Zerg in the world. He is the best at crushing armies like this. And if he kills one army that looks like this in the center of the map, I've never seen him lose after that.
So the mutas are just going to continue to roam around here. He's trying to find kind of like the loose end of the group of Marines, you know, where there's maybe a Marine kind of dangling out on the side, and hit that and pierce that position, take out those, you know, let the glaives kind of bounce through that. Sharp hasn't made that much progress on the map. This is at least keeping the mutas from actually putting pressure in the main here. Armor is done, by the way.
Nope.
So he went for the armor upgrade. He may actually try to just take a fight in the middle of the map here.
Look at what SoulKey's doing. He's actually, Sharp is doing a good job trying to bring these together, but you can see how SoulKey moved around the army and picked off reinforcements. This is what SoulKey does. He's waiting to hit his critical mass to kill it, but Sharp actually whittled down a fair amount. There's a little part of that group that had like a Muta and some Lings in it that he was able to kill. He didn't save his reinforcements, but you can see the way SoulKey's moving. He keeps the Mutas in between the Bio Ball and the reinforcement point, right? So anything rallying out, he'll see, and here we go. He's going to go for this Army Crush, and again, he is the best in the world at this, taking out every single Marine. The Medic's going to go down as well. That is where SoulKey is second to none.
Dude, he's just so good at this.
Look at how far ahead
he
is.
A couple minutes ago, but it's like I look at it and I go, oh, I don't know how to stop that. By the way, it's not a revolutionary concept, guys. Like Ling Muta, surrounding Marines in the map, but he just seems to know exactly where the Terran's going to be at, when he can get in there. It's interesting to see that he kind of takes advantage of the fact that that armor upgrade is going to be done. The Marines, they have that extra bit of damage, but just with a couple of Lings down there, the math gets a lot more fuzzy. Here we go again.
He is trying for a secondary Army Crush here, and he is going to be able to get it. His Zerglings, in fact, he thinks about going in, and then he pulls back. Wow.
Okay, so this is so smart. He actually is willing to sack the Mutas there because, there's a concept where you can just target down one Muta, then another one, and thin it out. But now the Lurkers can basically just set up and contain with impunity, excuse me.
You can't let this get set up. If he gets 3 or 4 Lurkers actually burrowed, dude, this is almost unwinnable right now. It's 3, so you can still actually get out of here, but he needs to break out almost immediately. He needs to lift off this barracks. He might want to kill his own depot here. You have to break out, but look at how many units. Look at the minimap and how many units SoulKey is sending down right now. The factory is floating. He can't get a siege tank. It would take him over a minute to get a siege tank from here.
I think he can, in a second here, I think he can actually brute force his way in. He's going to have something like 8 Lurkers. There's 2 more that are coming down here. And, the Lurkers, it's a narrow area. They could just obliterate everything.
Dude, well, actually, for SoulKey, if he just sits here, he wins. Because he sees the factory floating. So it's over a minute to get anything. He will have consumed by then. This game is SoulKey's. You cannot come out of this choke.
Probably right.
You cannot come out and break that. This is why SoulKey never loses once he kills your first army. Is he knows exactly how to punish.
You're so right. I was thinking he might have to try to come in here and bust this down, but yeah, there's no factory landed. In fact, it's leaving his base here. By the way, I don't think it would make sense if he landed it now and tried to make a tank, okay? But the truth is, once that consume is done, it's like 1 or 2 at most Dark Swarms, and you have Lurkers that are attacking SCVs that are mining at the natural. The main's going to mine out right away. This is a real Hail Mary moment. Excuse me, I can't talk today. He's going to unload these right outside of the base, and this way he could try to flank it had the unload actually worked. But this gets cleaned up, and things just literally, I think, couldn't be more dire here.
Oh, he's dead. He's dead. Look at that. The Defiler's here. He can't break out. He had a good idea to try to flank it, but SoulKey's on top of it, and as soon as you get a Dark Storm in your natural, that is a loss 99% of the time. You stop your mining, it takes forever to clean up. He doesn't have enough irradiates. He can't deal any damage to these Lurkers. Look at that. SoulKey pushes up. Just the ultimate punish from SoulKey. Just so strong.
I mean, it's kind of wild to see Sharp just get smashed like this. GG, game 1 goes to SoulKey. SoulKey keeping a poker face as well, Artosis. Doesn't wear his emotions on his sleeve in these series. Just such a god-tier performance. You were mentioning a second ago, it's like once he kills the army with Lings and Mutas, the game is basically done. He just seems to be able to set up a closer. And these are guys who've been, moving Marines and medics out on the map for 25 years. If there's one thing they know how to do, it's control that and eke out as much damage as possible. And I feel like we never see SoulKey fail when he knows it's time to engage.
Yes, he is the best at making those decisions. It is unbelievable to watch. And once he does that, it's like he knows exactly how to punish you. It was perfectly done. He would have played slightly differently maybe if he didn't see the factory. But once you see the factory floating there, you just look at the clock and you're like, yeah, I'm going to have consumed. Like, you literally can't break out of here. Even if he landed it instantly to make siege tanks, he's not going to get out. And this is the problem. It's hard to roam against SoulKey. You have to play further back than against any other Zerg in the world, which makes builds like this not as strong against him. Whereas that is like the go-to build for most Terrans, because you'll get so many wins off Zerg where they don't engage that correctly and you kill their whole army and you're like, LOL, I have map control, and you go kill their third. Can't do it against SoulKey. Dude, you have to be more aggressive earlier, or you have to have some sort of sharp tech.
You know, it's funny, he played so straight up, too. That was a classic TVZ mid-game. That was a classic TVZ, strong TVZ early, ZVT early game win. I mean, just getting the Dark Swarm over the natural, kind of ending it right before we get into late game. Guys, we're going to go to a break. Up next, Game 2 with SoulKey versus Sharp here in the finals.
SSL 썰을 들어보는 리썰 넷썰 진행을 맡은
It's time to listen to some stories in the SSL Your Story, My Story segment. Welcome, guys.
간략하게 설명을 해드리면 저희가 주제를 주고 그 주제에 맞는
Let me briefly explain the rules of our game. I'll give you a topic, and you guys will each give us a story relating to that subject. And then TY and I will vote. Whoever gets voted will get to flick one of their stones first in this game of Akagi. Now please put 5 stones each, wherever you want, on the go board. Well, Sharp's an aggressive player, you can see how forward he placed his stones, and SoulKey went defensive. Let me give you the first subject. Can you guys talk about going through a unique experience that nobody else likely had? I have one thing that springs to mind. When I was 23, it was StarCraft 2, but I won my first championship. The day before, I had a dream. In that dream, one of my teeth broke off. I lost it somewhere, I finally managed to find it, and I put it back in. The next day, I was down 0-3, and then I pulled off a 4-3 reverse sweep. So if you hadn't found the tooth in the dream, you would have lost 4-0. I think so, yeah. I'm going through a unique experience right now. I have thyroid cancer. I will undergo surgery in December. It's really kind of novel. I had so many bad things happen this year, but also so many good things. It's truly a special kind of year, it would seem. Okay, you go. SoulKey, that's not how this game works. Okay, Sharp, you'll get 2 chances to attack. You gotta apply just the right amount of force.
공략권이 끝났습니다.
The attack yields no profit. SoulKey, this placement of the stones, oh, this is looking really tasty for you. Okay, let's move on to the next subject. Hardships during your full-time days. Can I go first? Yeah, go ahead, Sharp. I had this one earnest interview with caster Tongsorim. We've had winner interviews since last season, right? I really wanted to do that. Players should be so lucky to get to play. Each match is so precious. Right after that interview, a lot of people showed up. It was a moving interview. And then, one by one, they stopped coming because I didn't get to play. When are you going to play? They would ask. It was so painful. You must have felt sorry for your fans. Yeah, I was. If I can be blunt, everyone has gone through that. It's like, well, you can't play, so you don't get sent out to matches. TY, are you T? Yeah, capital T. I can relate. SoulKey, you with me on this, right? Yeah, it can't be helped if you just don't do well. Now, when I was full-time, I once shaved my head. I was young, I had a girlfriend, but I wasn't getting good results, so my team, they made me shave my head. That in itself wasn't too bad, but then I would go to play televised games, it didn't look right. And they told me, SoulKey, this doesn't look good, put some makeup on. When I heard them say that, I was young, so it kind of hurt. Men take pride in their hair. SoulKey, you're about to make me cry. It was so painful back then. Shall we vote? 1, 2, 3. Careful. 1 chance wasted. 1 more. Wow, this is tougher than it looks. SoulKey the wall, more like SoulKey the cliff. Look at this thing pushed to the edge. You're gonna have to save this one, Sharp, right? Okay, next topic. The happiest moment from your streaming career. The best thing about streaming for me is the income. However you look at it, with this in mind, I think this really is the best time. After joining C9, it's when I've been the happiest. I'm also very thankful to Jungman. Thanks to our Jungman Day members, my income has been great. Whatever I do just works out great. I too think now is the best time. I'm going to vote for Sharp. I have no choice but to go with my teammate. Rock, paper, scissors. It is. Okay, Sharp gets to go first. Oh, this is hopeless. First things first, let me finish this one off. SoulKey, come on. I was trying to be careful. Score is still 5-5. Okay, next question. The coolest me in ASL SSL. 2 seasons ago, I think, my first championship. I had a great performance in the finals, I had some iconic moments like that whole position lurker play. I managed to reverse sweep too. I think that season meant a lot. When I beat Hero this season, I think my wife had given up hope because it was a TVZ. She was very happy with that win. Before this recording, Sharp called his wife, right? Honey. Right? Yeah, he sounded so sweet. God, that was too much. I'm gonna win the championship. I am going to vote for Sharp. Why? Because you're jealous, TY? Yeah, a little. But that season when SoulKey won, I was having such a hard time in the military. What does that have to do with anything? So, I can't emphasize with him. It's rather making me feel sad. I'll go with SoulKey. Whenever he won the championship, I can still remember that very vividly. Rock, paper, scissors. Wow, Sharp has stood up. He's up from his seat. 1 shot, 2 kills. He's trying to knock one of his own stones off the table. I am losing my mind. Let me try one of the further ones. I knew it. SoulKey, you just lost a point. Doesn't do to be greedy. SoulKey, you gotta go for the sure ones. Okay, last story. Victory is decided based on the remaining stones. So as things are, Sharp is ahead right now. You gotta put all you've got into this last one story. Okay, 2024 SSL Autumn is a good season for me to win. Lay it all out. You gotta appeal to our emotions. That will decide things. The time has come for me to seize the title for 3 championships in a row. It's not an easy title to come by. But naturally, winning your first one is a happy moment too. Even if you want 3 championships in a row, it's really, really hard to do. Winning 1 is doable. I think this is my last chance for 3 in a row. I think I just have to win. Now this is what I think. If I don't do it here, I might not ever advance again. SoulKey has already won championships a few times. He will not be as urgent, as desperate as myself. He's the toughest opponent. If I want to bring a conclusion to my own storylines this season, I have to be SoulKey. If you manage to leap over this grand mountain that SoulKey is, a championship awaits. Is this the season to do it? I think so. Nothing is impossible. Perhaps a miracle is on the cards. Good. So, let's vote then, shall we? I'm going to go and vote for Sharp. My heart says Sharp, but my head says SoulKey. Okay, guys. Rock, paper, scissors. I'll finish this one off. Score 4-4. I'll put some strength into this one. Sharp, no, do it gently. Wow. That was gentle. And the final result of our game of Alkagi, SoulKey has 1 more stone on the board and is the winner. As someone who is very much looking forward to this grand final between the 2 of you, I really hope you show up in full force and show us the greatest match you can.
Welcome back, everybody. Thank you for patiently waiting. We're getting ready to go into game number 2 here. I gotta say, things already feel kind of dire right now for Sharp. I mean, I know. Look, I know things could turn around, but just judging from game 1, SoulKey looks so scary, looks so unstoppable.
Well, that is exactly what SoulKey, Terran vs. Zergs look like, and that's why I'm saying you can't just play the standard game. I want to see rush, or a rush out of Sharp, right? Obviously this is not the player rush, but he needs to rush, and it needs to be a Sharp rush, okay? Like, why do we have the Statue of Liberty in there? What does that have to do?
The Statue of Liberty's here.
What is going on? Oh my God. Okay, anyways, I just really want to see Sharp start doing builds that have, like, God, too many puns, but they name themselves these basic words. He needs to do very Sharp builds, you know? He needs to do things like, okay, let's do a BBS and see if he didn't go pool first. Right? Barracks Supply, center a map, do a bunker rush. Let's see if that works. The thing is, SoulKey will mix in pool first, and you're going to lose that sometimes. But you need to try a build like that. You need to try, just things that can maybe catch him a little bit off guard, because you're never going to win straight up against this man. You're not going to do it.
Here's a question. How common are upgrades for mutas in TVZ?
Super, super common.
Like, do you always get them? Super
almost
common,
always.
right?
Almost always. It's like sometimes, occasionally I've seen people skip an upgrade to, if you're going to do something silly, like make just a tiny handful of mutas and rush to lurker or something, but you almost always get an upgrade, whether it's attack or armor.
Okay. Yeah, I was just... do we see SoulKey get the attack upgrade that often ever? I feel like it's only armor.
He's a battle Zerg, man. Yeah, I think he gets armor more often.
Yeah,
a lot of Zergs like the attack because they attack so much, but SoulKey knows that it's all about getting into late game, not about dealing more damage in the early game.
Well, also, like, we even saw in the interactions, like, I almost want to sit down and just watch SoulKey stream and just look from his perspective how he micros, because he knew in that moment that Sharp is going to try to just target down mutas, and that armor upgrade just let those Lings shred the Marines on the low ground.
Yeah.
Or on the ground, excuse me. Yeah, anyways, guys, let's see. Can Sharp survive the mid-game here versus maybe the best mid-game player ever in this matchup? Okay, we've got Sharp here in the center right and SoulKey in the bottom left. Before we get into this game, guys, we're going to do our quick plug that we always do. If you haven't signed up already, please consider supporting us on Patreon, patreon.com/ASL English. We love you guys. We appreciate you guys. StarCraft could not be in a better time. I know that we all get nostalgic for the past, and it makes sense, going back and reflecting on happy memories and these different eras in Brood War, competitive play. But honestly, now could not be a better time. Flash is just now returning.
Yeah.
SoulKey, I mean, we don't know if he's going to win this or not, but my God, he might end up getting Bonjour status here.
Yeah.
By winning, 3 StarLeagues in a row. There's so many great players coming up. It couldn't be more competitive. Remastered lets us ladder in a way that we really couldn't before, with pretty much nobody cheating and automatically getting queued into games. So the history of StarCraft's bright. We hope you consider signing up and supporting us, because we want to keep StarCraft alive now and forever.
Thank you very much to everyone who has supported on that Patreon. We really do appreciate you guys. And this season has been amazing. I can't wait for the next season, Tasteless. Whatever happens here, by the way, pool first, because he's thinking exactly what I'm thinking. He's like, he needs to rush me. But, I can't wait, because Flash being back, now that would be, if we got a Flash SoulKey finals in the next year sometime, there isn't a better storyline. That's it.
Oh my God.
That's the one.
Well, it's funny too. When Flash was back, it was so, there's periods where he dominates so hard that it's kind of difficult to even tell who's number 2, number 3, number 4.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because he'll basically plow through any bracket, excuse me, without losing almost any games. We had moments where Snow beat him, but I mean, other than that, not really that many people. But he's been gone for several seasons now, and just as he's returning, it's becoming very clear that SoulKey, and again, we don't know if he's going to win this or not, but SoulKey certainly, as of right now, of this recording, is looking like the strongest player in the world. So my God, what a great story the next season is.
It really
is going to have for us.
It really is. I'm super stoked, but I'm still very stoked for the series, because Sharp does come in with pretty good plans. And the thing is, here's a few things about Sharp that we don't think about as much with him. Okay, he is not the ultimate defensive macro Terran like Light. And he's not the ultimate fast Terran like Barracks, and he's not the ultimate, he's probably not the ultimate of any one category, but when you put together what his skill set is, he is one of the fastest Terran players in the world, one of the fastest players in the world, just straight up, okay? He doesn't have the APM of Barracks, but he's like much quicker than a player like Light generally. And he is very good with aggression, and he's very good with macro. He plays like just kind of a different brand, and he does come in with pretty good plans. I wouldn't put him at the same level as like a Royal. You know, that season Royal one was the best Terran vs. Zerg builds I've ever seen. But Sharp will have some reasonable ideas to work off of. There is no way in his practice he was thinking, well, I'm just going to do, you know, +1 rushes and beat SoulKey. And you can see that here. Okay? He's made Marines pretty much nonstop, and that's what the Overlord sees. So if I'm SoulKey here, I'm thinking, okay, this is probably +1, like a fast engineering bay, but it's actually a fast factory. So already you can see Sharp is altering his play.
Yeah. Well, it's going to have to be about adapting here, right? And that's why, you know, a best of 5, best of 7, stuff like that, you really get to see the players try to figure each other out. And, you know, sometimes you end up with these situations where they try a couple different things and none of them work and they get fleshed out. Other times we actually see these, like, crazy comebacks. So, yeah, I mean, this is a much different looking game here so far. You know, with SoulKey, he's done, excuse me, I'm a little congested today, not a lot of tricky stuff. It's just been straight up play.
And this looks pretty straight up from him as well. It looks like it will be a Valkyrie rush. I'd be pretty surprised if it's something else. Yeah, there's the armory. So this is going to be a Valkyrie rush here from Sharp. Now, we don't know exactly which type of Valkyrie rush this will be. Like, is this just going to be a heavy Marine, heavy Valkyrie, no +1, kind of all-in-ish move? Or is he going to try to make this go into science vessels? It's really hard to say, and we can't tell quite yet. But already, SoulKey making his Mutalisks. We got to get those missile turrets up here for Sharp if he's going to have a chance. Floating that barracks out, and you can see SoulKey is on top of even the barracks, I mean, the factory coming out. That looked like he wanted to land it and make vultures to counterattack with. That's what that looked like to me.
Yeah, I think so. I think that was a little part of the build that he wanted to do, and I think if the Lynx saw it, then maybe he can go north and try to put it up there. The Mutas are going to come in here right now, and it looks like the turrets are basically perfectly finished. I find that placement really interesting. It's kind of far out, probably intending to keep the Mutas from actually seeing that this is a Valkyrie rush. If, you know, kind of vision-wise shields this, but if he can run through this blind spot, he should be able to inadvertently scout the build order.
He sees that it's a Valkyrie rush. He already kind of knew when he made the 2 Scourge. He already was kind of reading what this was, and he definitely is correct on that. Now, if he can get that, okay, the Valkyrie gets away. If you lose that first Valkyrie, this game turns into a loss almost immediately. Oh, God.
Oh. Oh, my God. I was going to say, this functions actually a lot like these PVZ fast expand builds that are pretty commonplace, where you basically can't lose the first Corsair. If they're going Mutas, you need to get enough Corsairs to match them. The Valkyries, it's kind of the same thing. Yeah. If you lose 1 or even 2 Valkyries, it's like you don't quite have enough in time to really make a difference. And the fact that he put those towers out there far out, I think probably to try to stop Mutas from maybe seeing this initially, has created this sort of weird backdoor entrance for the Mutas where they can threaten the mineral patches in the main. So, I mean, this is already a worse game for Sharp. Oh, there's a Vulture counterattacking.
Well, this is something at least. He is going to get, like, maybe a few drones in here. So this was a really good idea from Sharp. And this might get the Mutas off his back. The Mutas are actually flying back to deal with this. So not only is SoulKey taking massive damage, 4 drones going down is huge. Don't forget, he's not high on drones. This was a pool first opener. So this was a low econ, very fast Mutalisk opener. And suddenly he loses 4 drones on that. That's very, very painful. But he did a lot of damage to Sharp. A lot of damage, and he slowed down the barracks ads. So Sharp just isn't going to have an army that can move out on the map for quite some time. So I think SoulKey should be able to just recover from this position.
Yeah, Well, I mean, I'm really glad he actually got in there and got at least some kills on the drones, right? That sort of gets the Zerg off your back for a little bit, and you could start to stabilize again here.
Yeah.
He is floating that factory back into the main, by the way. There was a second Vulture that was picked off there. And he's starting to clear out the Overlords here. By the way, you know, the Valkyrie was not used as much pre-remastered. Blizzard actually, one of the few things they fixed in the remastering of this is they made the missiles actually fire correctly. And so, you know, we have a lot more Valkyrie play here that I think is actually much more doable than what it was in the past.
Yeah, there was a sprite bug before when you got a bunch of Valkyries, like 1 or 2 would shoot out of 8.
Yeah, that's what it was. Yeah, it wasn't like they wouldn't all attack. It's like something in the coding, like it couldn't make all the missiles or something like that. So
yeah, there was like too many graphics on the screen because the Valkyrie attack is like high sprite or something. I don't know. I'm not a computer guy. People think I'm a computer guy because I cast StarCraft and play computer games all day. Nothing could be further from the truth.
Oh no.
I'm the dumbest
The number of
video
times I've
game
had to have my
jock in the
girlfriend
whole
fix
world.
my computer.
Yeah.
So he's going to push out. Remember that, you know, this isn't the count that he would have had before. By the way, I do feel like we see Terran players lose Valkyries more than any race loses any unit.
Yeah, there's
I
a
feel
lot
like
of
Terrans have
players.
never-
Yeah, I kind of agree with you on it, Tastosis. Not many people are really good at Valkyrie micro. I feel like Light is superb at it, and I feel like everyone else is a bit off. Like they don't
like
micro him quite well enough.
Like you look at Bisu when he controls Corsairs, and it's like, oh, he's so good at this.
Yeah.
Like he can just use them the whole game and harass and do stuff. And then I feel like Terrans still haven't quite gotten that good with Valkyrie control. We did have a pretty cool dodge there a little bit ago. There was at least that.
No, I agree with you 100%. Every Terran, except for Light, is basically like Harangi with Valkyries. Where you're just like, wait, do you even play this game? But yeah, right now, he is keeping them alive. The thing is, there's a ton of lurkers, and yeah, okay, he's got a siege tank. There are so many lurkers, and one of the things, and this might be hard for Sharp to scout, but there was like the evolution chamber and the lurker den with a later Queen's Nest. Anytime you see that, it's going to be like really mass lurker, and you have to be so careful against that. Because they will have so many lurkers that even if you siege tanks, they sometimes can just run up and burrow next to you. And like, yeah, you killed 5 lurkers and I killed everything you had. That type of situation. And look at this. He's utilizing that high ground. Oh, God.
Oh my
dude.
God.
From bad to worse.
Oh, that's like the one thing he can't lose. Like, you're never going to have enough scans with these few tanks to see the lurkers. Oh my God.
Yeah, missing half shots uphill, too.
Oh,
it's a terrible
that is
situation.
Heartbreaking. And look at this. This would have been set up so perfectly to have a drop come in here, and he could have tried to hit from 2 sides.
The drop is actually still awesome. Look at this. I love this. And in fact, he's going to bring more units down. Oh, he loses the 2 Valkyries immediately. Yeah, it looks like it. Okay, he's actually bringing down more Marines and Medics. Unfortunately, the Valkyries died really, really quickly there. They just kind of flew into some Scourge, but still the Marines and Medics doing a great job here, Tasteless.
Okay, the Lurkers are going to try to dive here. He's going to stim. He scans. The Marines are still alive in the main. Hold up. Hold up. Now, there can't be that many scans in the chamber, remember. Now, we might have another Science Vessel come up here in this period of time. There's a lot happening here. He takes out the Spire. He's doing some damage to the Den. He takes out one of the Lurkers, too. I can't even imagine that Sharp can keep up with Macro back at home, trying to split, do these 2 different attacks that have been happening in different positions that are both critical. If he's going to win this game, this one damaged dropship is barely alive. Just Medics on the low ground.
Might be time to ferry those out of there. Now it's a Hydra Lurker composition, so you're going to have to go heavy siege tank from here. I don't know. Sharp has a lot more supply than SoulKey. Oh, God. Just shredding absolutely everything. I got to say, like, that was an amazing set of drops that Sharp did. If he hadn't lost that vessel, if he had executed that just a little bit more cleanly, that felt like it did a lot of damage to SoulKey.
God, just imagine if he had executed everything correctly, and kept that first vessel alive, most importantly. But look, I think we're in a game where, like, this could go either way still. It's too bad to see that, you know, all that buildup was shut down because the science vessel wasn't properly covered by the Marines. Is that a command center that he's going to land? Yes,
Yeah.
it is. So he's taking a third base right now. Zerg's going to try to push.
That's a lot of lurkers. He does irradiate one, which is kind of nice, and he's actually targeting them pretty well with those siege tanks. Siege tanks are reducing the numbers significantly, but there's so little bio here. If he just had a few more units, this could have been holdable. But it looks like SoulKey is going to get him all the way back into his natural. Oh, my God, there's nothing
and
in
the
the bunker
bunker's
as well.
empty. I don't know why. I like decided
Yeah.
that there were just a bunch of Marines in there. It's actually completely abandoned. Dude, this is going to be another moment where lurkers just get over into the natural.
It is. It is. Sharp just lost far too many units. And look at that. Picks off another science vessel, and now he's mining from one base again. Even though he has siege mode and siege tank tech, pushing up this ramp is not going to be something that is easy to do. SoulKey is going to be able to win this game.
Yeah, and remember that, you know, there's chance to miss in StarCraft 1 when you're shooting from low ground onto high ground. So, I mean, how long is it going to take with tanks versus this 3-base Zerg to get rid of enough lurkers? Remember that Terran will eventually mine out in their main here, too. So, like, this is just really hard to do. We just saw a missed shot with that last siege tank shot, too.
Yeah, this is not looking like it is winnable at all. The amount of units SoulKey has, they're even in supply right now. And it's Hydra Lurker against, like, a low-ground tank. Oh, man. Just with the Filers walking over right now, as soon as he sees a Dark Storm go down, I feel like you can leave at that point without feeling shame, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say like that nail in the coffin. It's like the third or fourth nail in the coffin at this point in time.
Well,
with
he's
how this
lowered
game
him
is
into the
going.
ground, Tastosis. Already the family members are throwing dirt on the coffin.
This is the first scoop of dirt on the coffin. Is the way to think of this.
Yeah. It continues to get worse. Runs the lurkers up. This is... I mean, he's trying to make fire bats to break out. That's the last-ditch effort of a Terran player. Is like, well, I'll make all fire bats out of these barracks. Get that splash damage down.
Fire bats trying to plow through, you know, Dark Swarm lurkers.
Yeah. So we're going to see a GG. There it is.
Yep, there it is.
Okay. That was painful. That was painful. Sharp tried something else. SoulKey read it well, brought Scourge in. Eliminated the first Valkyrie reasonably quickly, but I think more importantly, he found an area. You're right, the turrets were a little bit out. He was trying to make an area to put his barracks inside of. So he was trying to have like a shell around his base, kind of, and SoulKey just flew in and started dealing damage. The Vulture counterplay was really good and gave Sharp it gave him a chance to make the game come back, and I thought the drop idea while pushing was a really good idea as well. I think Sharp played pretty well, but SoulKey just finds everything you screwed up and punishes you. He is the greatest punish Zerg that we have had since Jaedong in 2008.
You know, it's hard when you're moving out, especially for these like timing attacks, to just see like the most important unit in that, like the vessel, picked off. I especially seeing that what he had set up with the dropship as well, where he was basically just going to try to push the main. If he could get his tanks sieged up, have the vessel, and just start to elevator Marines down to the low ground, he could have taken out the layer and all the tech there and probably won. Like, it was actually a really cool strategy.
It was a very cool strat. He was just so far behind at that point, but positionally, it made so much sense. If SoulKey had been top left, you couldn't have just instantly dropped into the main base, you know? He wouldn't have been in the right position. So that was like a really specific, really cool idea from Sharp, and it just did not work. SoulKey shuts him down hardcore.
What am I looking at? What is that? Chocolate bars? What? What is
What
that
I don't
sign?
know.
What? I don't get it. I've never been more confused
It's
by
a
a sign
magic
ever.
eye.
I want to go back.
You got to stare at it till it pops out, Tastosis.
Was it yeah? Was it like one of those impossible objects where the three rectangles connected somehow?
Can you circle all these without getting the circle to cross its own path, Tastosis?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I want to tell the camera guy to go back and just let me figure that out at least. All right. Anyways, guys, we're going to go to Deja Vu. It's a glitch in the Matrix. And it's going to be, hopefully, a Sharp win here, because it's very rare that we have comebacks. I'm not saying I'm rooting for Sharp, but, man, if SoulKey gets up 3-0 in the shape that he's in, if Sharp were to come back from that, that would be the most insane comeback in the history of StarCraft.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Couldn't agree more. Yeah.
All right, guys, we're going to go into Game 3. Good luck, Sharp, because SoulKey is looking untouchable. Okay, both players spawning at the top. SoulKey on the right side and Sharp on the left.
Now, this is against the rules, but it just popped into my mind. If I was Sharp right now, I would be just double checking with referee. I'm like, can I switch to Zerg? Can I try to kill him with like a Massling or a 9-pool or something? Because this isn't working. Oh, God.
Oh, my God. I love this. Oh, my God. The
so
number
funny.
of people that are surprised. I'm like the only guy that didn't know
Yeah.
that, like, Crazy Zerg's a term. I'm like, I can't believe Artosis. He has this great opportunity to name the strategy something beautiful, and he called it Crazy Zerg.
That's so funny to me.
Wow.
Do you?
That's so funny. Appreciate the sign. Yeah.
Yeah. Do you remember when StarCraft 2 first came out and every human was trying to name builds after themselves?
Yes.
And it was
yes.
so comedy because everyone's like wants to have a part of the history of having a name,
Yeah.
because there have been builds that have been named after people. It's like they want to be like Simone Biles and like
Well, that
have
was the whole
moves named
meme.
after them. And yeah, so
Yeah, that
Go
was the
ahead.
whole meme with the Tasteless build. Was
yeah,
they started
we call
trying to just
every
name
build the
builds that they
Tasteless
can-
build.
Yeah, the
it was
Tasteless
so
build. Yeah, because
funny. Yeah.
yeah. No, but sorry. Go on. What were you saying?
No, that was that. I just wanted to build to that because it's like when it's like such an arrogant, terrible thing to try to name a fucking build after yourself. It's like if it gets named after you, it happens naturally. Like stop looking for fame at the beginning of a game. But yeah, when we just called every build the Tasteless. Oh, it's the Tasteless build.
He's doing my build again. I can't believe it.
Yeah.
Okay, monkey see, monkey do.
Yeah, it reminds me of
No,
the Crazy Zerg thing.
The only thing that also reminds me of the time when Remastered was about to come out and everybody was lying about their StarCraft rank
Yeah.
from the
yeah,
past.
that's so
I'm like,
funny.
well, this is just weird. Like, you could just like show up and play and see where you're actually at now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was interesting times, man.
Indeed. Now, being on Deja Vu, we have the wall from Sharp. It's on this map, the weakest walled position is that top left because the Marines pop out on the outside, and he's going to see that this is a very fast pool. With the Lings coming out, he'll be able to block it, but he is going to have to probably pull... Well, actually, the longer he keeps the Lings chasing this, the better, because then you have to pull less SCVs. But he'll need probably at least 3 SCVs pulled here, because I think he'll have 3 Marines, the 3rd Marine just barely getting in as the Lings approach. So yeah, you probably need 3 SCVs. I would probably bring 4, because if you screw this up, it's just the worst. He actually sends 1 out. So he wants a secondary scout with that. I kind of like that. So
Yeah,
there's the 3 Marines.
I think he
and-
saw it. He should have seen it without those Lings. Lings don't have a great vision radius. But yeah, if he can get a secondary scout, because there could be like a layup for some kind of cheese with this.
For sure. He's actually checking for a 3rd hatch somewhere. That's actually... some people go for like 9 pool. They keep you in your base, get that early SCV, and then throw down a 3rd hatchery somewhere. That was like a tricky build that was popular a while ago, and that's what Sharp is checking for. I actually really like the idea to check for that, because if he sits behind his wall, he's kind of invincible. I think he'll go fast Academy here as opposed to fast Engineering Bay or anything like that. That feels like the smartest play. So there's the gas. We'll see if he adds Academy here. But having an SCV to check for additional bases plus going fast Academy puts him into a position where he has a lot of flexibility.
So he's going to send the SCV up here to go into the main. It feels like he might have wanted to wait just a little bit longer, because if he could send this in, when the layer's actually done, and he can see, okay, is there like a spire, or is there maybe, oh my god, actually no, this is perfectly timed out. Okay, wow, look at that. So he gets in there exactly as the layer's done, sees the spire, sees no den. Very cool.
Yeah, he has the timing down for everything now as well. So a powerful scout from Sharp to check all those bottom right bases. He gets to see the drone count, so he knows there's not additional lings on the map. And, you know, he'll be able to keep that alive for quite some time. And what a beautiful move out from Sharp. Sharp is putting out an excellent game here.
Yeah, so he moves right up in front of the lings so that they don't have time to run away.
Now this...
Basically, unless... Yeah.
Sorry. Right now, like, he just started this creep colony. And Sharp is moving out with 4 Marines. This is so funny because he keeps a few back to catch lings. Oh my god, he canceled because he saw those Marines.
This is such a big brain play. Oh my god.
I can't believe it. Oh, and he actually had lings hatching. But this is actually advantage Sharp. Trading 4 Marines there to force lings and kill 2 drones is amazing. All he needs to do is block the lings from getting in right now and make sure he has his turrets on time. He's really ahead. Look at that. 1 drone on minerals at the natural. That's terrible for Zerg.
This has been such a great game from Sharp so far. And I love the Marine split off. I've never quite seen that.
No, that's
like he's still chasing the lings around. Yeah, but you saw it worked too, because SoulKey just canceled that creep colony. Being the smart, greedy Zerg that he is, he's like, no, I want this to mine minerals. I don't want to just have a creep colony. I can make that later. Well, look, you know, if there was a game that Sharp could win, this would certainly be the one. He's actually in the lead right now.
That's big. Like, you really want to take an advantage in the early game like this, where you force the Zerg into, like, over-defending or taking some damage. And he did both. He did both. And so now SoulKey is going to try to make something happen. I don't think he'll attack that forever. I think this actually makes a lot of sense, though. He's getting a lot of glaive damage. He has a lot of lings. So he might have a small window if Sharp lifts that to run his Zerglings in and, I don't know, get some turrets, maybe help out to kill a... get on top of the barracks, something like that. Maybe you can get the bunker again. We'll see what SoulKey does to try to come back here.
I think it's going to be the bunker again. All right, so he's going to take that bunker out. He definitely was losing more doing this than the last time. What was it, game 1 that he did this in?
Yeah. Sharp much closer to get down there and kind of defend against that.
Yeah. So he's going to send this barracks over with the rest of the lot. Snipes another SCV. There's no 3rd hatchery yet here for SoulKey, by the way. He's still powering up Mutas. Well, and, you know, this is look at this funny situation that's been created because the bunker was killed. He needs to remake the bunker just to have stability, but it's almost like a feeding system to get SCVs over there so he can snipe it.
And
Sharp, it's going to be the 3rd SCV killed.
Sharp is winning still, just so people know. Like, this is still a very good position for him. His mineral lines haven't been touched. We just heard a scan. I'm going to assume that was on the natural. And as soon as you see that there's 1 drone on the natural, you're like, no problem. You just keep making some turrets, keep making your Marines. That's really what it comes down to, is defend, 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 because SoulKey just doesn't have an economy to make this game go beyond this phase.
I'm really fascinated by the fact that he went for the bunker again here. You know, it seems like Sharp is mustering enough troops that pretty soon he's going to be able to push. And in my mind, I would think, well, you want to actually keep the lings back because SoulKey is going to do that iconic squish or surround in the middle of the map, but instead he just keeps going for it.
Yeah.
By the way, not a drone mining minerals here in the natural. So, I mean, barely an economy over here for SoulKey.
Yeah, this is the type of game you win without even leaving your base. Like, SoulKey, the reason why he keeps going after these frontal defenses is because he needs to actually kill Sharp. And you can see how he got +1 attack as opposed to armor this game. It's because he has to be so aggressive with these Mutalisks. He can't just do an army crush because he doesn't have the economy to follow that up. Sharp will make another army, and SoulKey won't be able to do it twice. So what he needs to do is just consistently get damage with these Mutas and then get a killing blow.
Yeah, I like the way that you put that. Like, this is a game you win without even leaving your base. Like, the other player is so behind and all this other stuff that as long as you can weather their attacks outside your natural, you're probably fine.
Yeah, this isn't about attacking across the map. As soon as SoulKey tries a transition, an attack will naturally open up. Like, I'm surprised he's out here with these. I feel like, yeah, I guess you can do this, and it takes some breathing room off of your SCVs and stuff, but, like, I feel like if you just defend and continually scan and watch for when he's trying to add drones or go into lurkers, you're going to naturally have such a strong attack that comes out. Whereas here, you know, you don't have any defensive structures helping. I still think Sharp is far enough ahead that he should be able to win from here, but, like, I don't know. This doesn't feel like the best move from Sharp. It's just he's so far ahead, it's hard to tell.
Yeah. It feels like
see?
he might be going through the motions a little bit too much. Does this make sense? Like, you know, at this point in time, it might, you know what I mean? Like, oh, I probably need to be on the map. But it's like, no, you're actually creating an opportunity for him. Just stay back.
Yeah, and you see,
You know,
he killed all
couldn't
those
do anything
units.
before.
He never would have killed those units near turrets. And, like, look, this is actually, like, SoulKey's making something happen right now. He's getting on top of the turrets at the bunker, at the barracks. That's one big way to win a game, is you kill all the anti-air near the barracks. And I think his Mutalisk health is just slightly too low. But look at this. If Sharp had stayed home, SoulKey's dead, because he's going to have three. He would have had 3 Valkyries here. And what would SoulKey ever do against that? 0. And now he's...
I feel like we're seeing him choke, man. This is like really brutal.
This is not the correct way to play this game. Like, this was a game that you win by staying in your base because your opponent is so all in. You have to be able to measure how all in they are, and you do that by scanning how many drones they have. When your opponent has 1 drone mining minerals at the natural, the game is yours if you don't die. Moving out is what you do to pressure someone that has enough drones to do things. SoulKey doesn't have that. Sharp is, I think he's mustering enough defense with these Valkyries that he'll still win. But this, like, if he loses, it's no one's fault but his own.
Yeah. It's kind of hard to watch. I mean, he was in such a good position until he stepped out. And I think you're right. All he has to do is scan and look at the drones at the natural and be like, oh, he is so broke. Like, we can't check right now how many SCVs versus drones it is, but it's probably a hilarious number.
Yeah, Sharp has 35 plus SCVs right now. And SoulKey has, like, probably 17 maximum. SoulKey tries to take this, and he'll GG. He makes it closer than it should have been there at the end. Sharp had an unbelievably early game, blundered in the middle game, but still was far enough ahead from that early game that he was able to win. But it actually became close there for a moment. When SoulKey was stomping the turrets at the barracks, that could have gotten out of control.
Yeah, that was a great game. Really cool opening there from Sharp. Again, I got a lot of really smart ideas at play. And we've got our first Sharp win. And I think, you know, it's a much needed one for, you know, how a best of 7 can pan out. It's very rare statistically. It's even hard to imagine someone being down 3 games and then coming back 4, right? But, you know, creating a back and forth dynamic, I think Sharp is showing he's got some stuff. And, again, I think back to game 2 and how strong the ideas that Sharp had, even though he kind of messed up with the execution. I think Sharp still has a real chance here.
Yeah, that was, like... We're starting to see a bunch of plans that make a lot of sense. Like, his early game here was so phenomenal. This was, see this 19 drones against 40 SCVs. So that's, like, that's an absurd difference. But yeah, this was just like, why are you out here? You don't need the pressure.
Yeah.
The pressure is you building your army size to a critical mass he can't deal with. Not coming out and pressuring him not to make drones. It's just 2 completely different things.
You know, it almost felt like it was a little bit of, like, tournament pressure in that moment. Like, I think if he was playing from home, he would have just been more conservative here.
Maybe. When you said it felt like he was on
on
autopilot, I felt like that rang true. Where it's like, yeah, most games you walk out right then. Not this game, though, that's for sure.
Yeah, it was like he was playing kind of from a normal rule book and not, just looking at the situation where it's like, well, he has, your strategy worked, by the way, man. You got out there and killed those drones with those 4 Marines. You know that he's kind of locked into just aggro, so just wait it out, and you'll win. Guys, short little break coming up next. Game 4 here in this best of 7. We'll be right back.
(2015년) 우리는 새로운 방식의 e스포츠와 게임에 대한 여정을 시작했습니다. 누구나 참여할 수 있는 e스포츠, 누구나 대회를 만들 수 있는 e스포츠, 그리고 누구나 중계할 수 있는 e스포츠. 우리는 많은 투자와 성장을 거치면서 e스포츠 방송의 확장과 변화를 만들어 왔습니다. 이제 우리는 또 다른 새로운 변화를 준비하고 있습니다. SOOP e스포츠, 우리의 또 다른 시작입니다. SOOP e스포츠는 단순한 이름의 변경이 아닙니다. 이는 우리의 비전과 가치, 그리고 앞으로 나아갈 방향을 새롭게 정의하는 과정입니다. 우리의 새로운 로고는 무한대를 상징화하며 끊임없는 성장과 끝없는 가능성을 표현합니다. 이 로고는 끊임없는 투자와 경쟁력을 상징하는 동시에 글로벌 e스포츠 플랫폼으로서의 역량을 강화하려는 우리의 의지를 담고 있습니다. 이를 토대로 우리는 SOOP e스포츠라는 최상위 브랜드를 두고 각종 인기 게임 리그들의 새로운 로고 또한 여러분들께 선보이려 합니다. 리그 오브 레전드, 발로란트, TFT, 스타크래프트, 철권. 이 로고들은 각각의 리그가 가진 독특한 정체성과 매력을 표현하면서도 SOOP e스포츠라는 큰 틀 안에서의 통일성을 유지하고 있습니다. 우리 SOOP e스포츠는 앞으로도 여러분과 함께 e스포츠의 새로운 역사를 써내려갈 것입니다. SOOP e스포츠, 무한한 가능성을 향해 도약합니다.
Welcome back, everybody. Guys, it's getting interesting here. We had a win here with Sharp. Let's see if we can do another one. So good to see you guys in the audience again. I still want to know what that one guy's sign was with like the 3. I might just have to go through this life without knowing.
Yeah, that's too bad. I feel like it doesn't actually mean anything. He just drew some squares on there. He thought he was coming to watch a PvP finals, and this is the best picture he can draw. And surprise, surprise, the Protoss caster is enamored with it. Like, what is this puzzle? This is crazy. Tastosis, when I go Nexus first, I can't win. I'm like, oh my god, I just can't do this anymore. I can't pretend that this is okay anymore, Tasteless.
We're going to be going to kickback for map number 4. In TVZ Artosis, is this a map that favors one side? Because I always think about the fact that you have the 2 free bases that are basically like in your main, so to speak, on high ground, but in your main, but they mine out faster.
Okay, so I thought I had the map figured out, and then SoulKey showed me when he played against Light that he had the map figured out, which obviously makes sense. He's SoulKey and I'm me. But, like, because it's lower gas, you can run Zerg out of gas if they play a normal game here much more quickly, which means that you should be able to win, because that's actually how you win late game against Zerg, is they run out of gas. They run low, and then your irradiates outnumber what they can produce. But SoulKey just went crazy Zerg, and the power spike hits before you run out of gas with Crazy Zerg specifically, and you're allowed to make hatcheries everywhere because you gain complete map control for a little bit. And so that's like a perfect way to play the map. Now, what this means is Sharp has to either all in or do some sort of mech opening. If he tries to play Bio here, SoulKey will go Crazy Zerg. This is the ultimate map for it ever, ever, ever. And so, yeah, it either has to be a cheesy all-in build here from Sharp, or it has to be a mech build. Which could include like a mech switch. It could.
Yeah, totally. We're getting a couple more shots here. The crowd. This venue, by the way, is great. This is awesome. At Digital Media City. I feel like whenever, when you're there, it looks 10 times cooler than even what it looks like on camera.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it's got these kind of great theater style seats, so like everybody that's there pretty much gets a good view of what's going on. It's got like a lot of elevation there too, and the screen is huge.
It's awesome.
So it's cool they did this.
It's a really
awesome.
well-made studio. This was actually the OGN studio, and then they went out of business, and Afrika TV ended up buying it. So
that's right. Yeah.
Yeah. I used to cast.
But I think this was actually built.
Yeah.
Yeah, we casted a couple of events out of here.
I used to cast Heroes of the Storm out of there. Like that was the OGN studio for a long time. Yeah, I used to cast there very often. But yeah, it's a great venue. It's fantastic. You and I have casted there a lot of times as well. And yeah, I'm glad some people got to go down and look at this live. But here we go, kickback. We should be seeing Cheese out of Sharp. We should be seeing Crazy Zerg out of SoulKey.
All right, guys, let's get into it. Game 4 here in this best of 7. Right now, SoulKey up 2-1 versus Sharp.
We are magic in the air. We are love, we are care. We are here for the ride. Join the fun side by side.
Okay, we've got SoulKey in the bottom right. Sharp here in the top left.
Yeah, cross spawns, so that's going to do a bit better for SoulKey as well. Going to make it a little bit harder for Sharp to do any sort of early rush against him. I'm very excited to see what Sharp has planned here. Because I really, really think if you look at the game of SoulKey versus Light, you're going to be like, yep, that's not going to work. Like, we gotta do something else. Which is wild, because I was sure that, Tastosis, I tell you, I've never had as high a win rate in Terran vs. Zerg as I had on this map when it first came out. But I ended up having to veto it because of Terran vs. Protoss being so hard. And then I saw SoulKey do Crazy Zerg, and I'm like, PvT. Yeah, when I saw the Crazy Zerg game against Light, I'm like, oh, I'm so glad this is vetoed right now, because I'll never win another game on this map unless it's against Terran. Like, it really, really, the way SoulKey played it, makes so much sense. I could sit down and talk about it for like 15 minutes straight and just outline exactly what the plan is, because it's perfect. It is an amazing plan against Bio, and I honestly don't think that for this map there's a good counter to it.
Yeah, it's cool that they had this map here, but it does seem to have some problems. Like, I'll be pretty surprised if we see it here another season. I think it's going to have a pretty short lifespan.
I think you're right about that.
But, you know, this game we have Terran going for barracks and then gas.
Yes. So this could be something cheesy, or it could be mech. Like I was saying, like you're not going to see a Bio opener. It's impossible.
Well, I mean, it does seem like a game where you'd want to basically just never even get to late game, never have to deal with kind of the crazy Zerg style that we've talked about here. So let's see what's made after the barracks is done. Are we going to have maybe like a quick academy or something weird, or is it going to be a factory?
Yeah, it'll be a factory, but will it be anything after? Like, I mean, it could be like a one factory, one starport play, right? That's like a very old build, but that's playable. It could be a two factory cheese. That is a real build that exists.
Well, two factory cheese. What is that? Do you make vultures and try to run to their base?
Yeah. If you Speed
I know
actually
that build.
came up with that. Dude, it's actually hilarious because you bring 4 SCVs with you, and if there's a sunken, you kill it. You just target it with the SCVs.
Is that right?
Yeah. It's so funny because it takes 3 sunken hits to kill an SCV. So, like, you might have a Marine or 2, and then you bring, like, 4 SCVs, and you can just break through everything. The funny thing is it only works against good players. Bad players will have, like, 2 sunkens. You'll be like, oh, I lose. Okay, sick.
So is the idea is that the SCVs just repair the vulture enough?
No.
That it
You
has,
literally attack the sunken with the SCVs.
Oh, wow. Oh, okay. So you, like, just have enough that you kind of brute force your way through it. Oh, that's so funny.
Because you have like 7 vultures with speed before mutas are out, so it's pretty crazy.
What I had imagined that you would want to do is get the speed vultures to just run by the sunken colony because there's such a big berth at the entrance.
Well, you're supposed to put hatcheries there to block. So like it should be. If it's not a full block, you insta-win with it. It's like you just kill every drone. But he's not doing the 2 factory. He is continuing to mine. He is getting an add-on. So I don't know what this is. Like, that has to be speed. That has to be the speed upgrade. So I think it's a 1 factory speed into CC.
Yeah, but he's going to have enough minerals to make a command center. I mean, I don't know why you'd be floating 350 at this point in time in the game.
I believe it's called Tree Fitty, but yeah.
He's still got the SCV alive. The drone's going to try to come in here. It looks like the vulture can just shut it down, but I think even just seeing the vulture kind of signals what the build's going to be, right?
Yeah, he has to be so careful about this. If the vultures get by, Sharp can just pick this game up.
Yeah.
So he's got...
I mean, he's got a formation for sure. 2 lings on each side of the sunken colony.
Speed Volts will get right by that, though. Like, you'll target 1 ling on the way by. Like, you'll probably go by on the top, target 1 ling, and just slip by, and you suddenly have multiple Speed Vultures in their base. Like, that's... Watch, this is going to be so easy.
Oh, my God.
Well, he might
they
actually...
both get through!
Yeah, I wonder if he can actually... Oh, the drone flank! Oh my God! Dude,
oh, my God!
He killed 1 drone there, and that's it.
He needed to not go behind the minerals there. I think the move would have been to try to get to the left side of the hatchery, or to run up the ramp onto the high ground with that base. But to go behind the minerals, you're getting into too much of a tight area.
Yeah.
Wow, that was such a lost opportunity. Again, the execution here from Sharp, it's like his ideas are good, but they're not, whether it's this game or the game where he dropped the vessel right when his timing push was coming out, his execution is just off.
A little bit. I can't deny it, what you're saying here. He is going into mech, which, as we were talking about at the beginning, is completely expected. Unfortunately here, okay, so already mech, like the old school Goliath build that was really popular a few years ago, isn't really used anymore at any high level in this matchup. Zergs have just become very good at making sure they have enough and then doing a transition into Hydras, and then like if you try to go tanks, they go Queens. So it's really tough, but on top of that, he opened with speed first, so his command center is later. He's already spent a bunch of money that hasn't been useful. Maybe he tries to play it a little bit like C was doing, where he mixes in Vulture Harassment, but the thing is the bases are not spread for SoulKey, so it looks bad for Sharp right now. It looks really bad. Even with a solid opener, Mech is hard to beat Zerg with.
Yeah, no, it's gonna be a real uphill fight in this game. That's just too bad, because again, it's like his ideas are good, but then he gets the vultures in there. You got to know where to go. Like, you have to have, like, okay, everything mapped out. And I think had he gone up the ramp, maybe he could have made it work. I don't know. It's just too bad. So the vultures are going to be hunted down by these mutas for the time being. And, when you see a player that's going to go for Goliaths here, it's going to be a pretty slow game from this point on. The Zerg can't interact that much because the Goliaths will just, damage them pretty quickly over time. But the Goliath player also can't really leave his base for a while.
It really takes a while to get that critical mass. And since there's only one entry point, it's not that hard for SoulKey to defend that. Like, he could just add 1 to 2 Sunkens. He could, just bring his mutas back and attack at the same time. There's, like, a lot of ways to block the Goliath attack. Of course, we should see some move-outs back and forth. But yeah, even just the distance, cross-spawn, it's hard to maintain that pressure well. Now, the muta's up here. Looks like he wants to kill that SCV. He knows that he's thinking about that third command center. So this...
Hey,
Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
Oh, no, I didn't mean to run over your toes. I was just thinking about this. You know why the strategy that Sharp wanted to do is so strong on this map specifically?
Why?
Is you were just saying that you would make hatcheries normally to block. You can't on this entrance.
Yeah, that's
minerals.
true. Yeah, they'd be really wonky looking, wouldn't they? Yeah, you're right.
Or maybe they have to be really far back. So, yeah, this is actually a great map to try to do a vulture run by.
Yeah, I think you're right about that. I didn't even think of that until... Yeah, the minerals there do screw that up a little bit.
I don't even... Yeah, no, on this map, I almost forget that there's even minerals there.
Yeah.
I mean?
So basically,
like
guys, you can't build a hatchery near the minerals. It has to be a certain distance away, which makes the walls a lot weaker. So yeah, you're right. That actually makes a lot of sense as to why Sharp would go for that. That's a good call, Tastosis.
Yeah.
But yeah, here he sees the third command center. That's all he was scouting for. There's a starport coming up. Anytime you see the third command center, you know that he's going to continue on with the tech. So almost 100% this game will turn into queens. Like mass queen. Because this type of position, it's like, okay, you're probably not going to kill him with pure Goliath, which means you're going to need to go siege tank, which means queens become really, really good. Nice denial.
That was a great snipe on the drone, actually.
Yeah.
There's almost nothing you can do to impact the game when you're meching. So to actually get that drone snipe and force SoulKey to send another one out is actually a pretty big deal. The thing about mech is it feels a lot of times when you're actually doing it, like you're very disengaged from the whole game. You're kind of just playing single player, making stuff.
Yeah.
But let's see what he can do with this. I don't feel like we've cast a mech game on this map yet.
No, we haven't.
And so maybe he can kind of just turtle and wait it out and then start to try to take other bases, because there's no real easy spot for Zerg to expand to due to the way this game has panned out.
Yeah.
Like, I guess you could take 6 o'clock or you could take 3 o'clock, but, I think it's not going to be easy to take a lot of these other positions, like the other mains, for an example. Well, actually, no, you know what? I take that back. You could take one of these little low resource bases that the other spawns have and probably camp out there, and it'd be hard to get there with mech. I take that back.
Just expanding in multiple directions against mech can be really strong, because the mech army generally needs to move around together. It's not really like Bio, where you can just send off a very cheap group of Marines that could power a hatch down real quick. By the way, SoulKey jumping in with a lot of Mutalisks. Like, he's committed very hard on the mutas, and like, you have to have all your Goliaths together to fight a stack this big. So he's getting some pretty solid damage done here.
Yeah, it's, I think a lot of times when you're meching, you start to make these formations almost like it's TVP, because that's usually where you're meching, and it's almost like he had his Goliaths spread out like you catch a Reaver or something. But yeah, if you're going for mass mutas, you can just like find small groups of Goliaths and just pounce on them.
You kind of have to figure out that they're going for so many mutas so that you can get into Irradiate. I've heard people say, like, oh, you need to go Valkyries here. You can't. You can't go Valkyrie plus Goliath at the same time, because if they accidentally make a Hydralisk den and then hit their head on the keyboard, they'll have enough Hydras to kill you. So it just, I see that comment so much, and it's like, no. Valkyries and Goliaths do not go together. It just, that like is not a thing. Right?
That's so funny. That's like people always asking me, like, can you get a Reaver here? Like, you know, in a PvZ? And I'm like, well, I wouldn't have Storm then. Like, I can't, you know. Or like, can you do Ghosts, you know, in this matchup? And you're like, you just don't have the gas. Like, the money's just not there. You got to understand that. It's not all about what you can imagine as a combination. It's about what you can actually afford to make that the game will let you get.
But yeah, against this, you want to go Irradiate. And like Irradiate plus Goliath will be able to hold this, and now you're going to have to get into your siege tanks to help deal with the Hydras. This is, you know, we're seeing a lot of the reasons why mech can be really hard to go. SoulKey's already up in supply here. It's a big, big issue. The Vultures are actually doing a really good job at kind of slowing things down, but SoulKey has 6 o'clock, mining quite well. The Mutas, once again, hitting his natural. SoulKey is dominating. But this is the hardest map, in my opinion, in this map pool.
Yeah, this is a map where I was kind of expecting Sharp to lose no matter what.
Yeah.
And, you know, the fact that Sharp is already falling apart on these 3 bases, which, by the way, are going to mine out. They might not mine out as quickly just because the harassment is so hardcore here from SoulKey. But, like, I don't know how Sharp is ever going to have enough to get out onto the map to take a 4th base or push.
Yeah.
Like, other than these small little vultures that have been darted out onto the map to try to take out drones here and there, SoulKey is just drinking in so many resources. He's actually ahead in supply massively. It's a 34 supply lead right now. That I think this could end the way a lot of TVPs on this map end, where the Protoss just basically stays outside of the Terran's bases, waits, and every time the Terran tries to leave, you just kill everything, and then you back up and you wait for them to leave again.
This is pretty bad right now for Sharp. I think he's going to GG here, and SoulKey's going to go up 3-1. But again, this is probably the worst map. And just to add on, not only is this map like I think it's solved by SoulKey. I think he literally solved it to the point where it should be removed from the pool after the season.
Yeah,
Mech is already weak against Zerg, but not just that. Sharp never goes Mech. Like, you can look through Sharp's stream or his ladder history, and you will not find any games of him going mech against Zerg. But he just looked at the light game, the SoulKey versus light. It's very easy to extrapolate from there that SK Terran is not playable here. It is simply not playable, and so you have to go mech or cheese, and he kind of did both, and neither worked. But I guarantee you, coming into here, he's like, yeah, kickback is... I can't even be angry if I lose that one. That's just a tough one.
Yeah, so we're just slowly watching Sharp kind of lose more and more units. Again, these 2 extra bases you get for free, they mine out quicker. So, like, you know, the fact that SoulKey's already past having to be concerned about that and has 2 other bases that have a normal amount of resources, I mean, this should be a pretty uneventful end of this game here. He's going to try to kind of daisy chain the siege tanks together and move out and try to get into a position. But, like, the other bases that Terran could, in theory, take, like 12 o'clock and 9 o'clock, are so far away. They might look close on the mini-map, but you have to have, like, such a line of tanks to have that area covered that it's probably just not going to happen.
And look how many mutas he has right now, magic boxing them forward. Just keeping them spread so Irradiate doesn't counter them. That's all he's looking for. He doesn't really care about these mutas that much anymore. Look at this. He's going to kill the command center.
He's targeting the command center. How often do you ever see the command center get targeted by mutas? And actually, you can kind of see why they're not, because it's going to get saved.
I'm surprised he didn't lift. If you lift, you get more repair surface area, like, instantaneously. That was super close to death. That. Yeah, if your command center is about to die, you have to lift.
Sorry to run over you a little bit there. Whenever I see these games, and look, neither of us play Zerg, but I have to put this out there. Why would you not just make, like, 1 queen when you're in this position?
Yes.
Because he can just infest the command center and steal it. Like,
yeah.
Why is I do look at, and I'm not talking about like, oh, he, get 12 queens and get broodlings or ensnare. I'm not even saying that. I'm saying what is preventing Zergs from just getting one queen to where you could, like, in that situation, a queen, what does the HP have to be on the command center for the queen to infest it? Is it like half?
I think it's just under half. And if you repair beyond that, by the way, while the queen's inside, the queen will pop out and you'll save the command center, just to add that in there.
Oh, whoa, really?
Yeah, if it's right on the edge, you just keep repairing and you pray that he's not about to embarrass you in that way. But yeah, you can repair out of that sometimes. But yeah, no, I would agree with you. Like the queen, people think and ask about like what units are being underused, and I think Dark Archon we've seen more and more. Like Best does great jobs with Dark Archons. Queen is the other one where we're starting to see it used more. We're starting to see ensnare more and things like that. Obviously against mech we see them. But I think you're right. Like stuff like that, I think will eventually in the next 5-6 years really come into play, where we're going to see a queen mixed in more often.
Yeah, we've got some queens here now, although I think this is probably going to be to ensnare, maybe broodling.
Yeah, it's for broodling.
Either one's probably fine. Okay.
Ensnare doesn't do that much against Goliaths, really. It's the broodling on tanks.
Oh, that's a good point.
Yeah, if broodling didn't exist, every game would be mech against Zerg. Instead, you get almost no games of mech against Zerg because broodling is so strong.
Yeah, it's funny how that like tiny little thing actually keeps this matchup viable.
Yeah. StarCraft doesn't even make sense. This game shouldn't still be able to be played. It hasn't been patched in 25 years, and like we have all the races represented at the highest level all the time. It's crazy.
Yeah. Okay, so the Hydras are going to come out now.
What a good spread from Sharp. My God, that's a good spread.
Yeah, it's really impressive. I mean, to be honest, I'm not sure that SoulKey can... Well, maybe he can, actually. The thing is, there's so many tanks back here.
Yeah, Sharp is hitting at the perfect time. Like, this is literally right before Broodling's ready. He has a bunch of queens sitting out. And, right, like that would have been a lot more mutas or a lot more Hydralisks. So he's hitting exactly when he needs to hit. But you can see SoulKey is still up 25 supply right now. He's taking even more bases. Even if he loses this base, he's fine. Because Sharp is going to mine out of bases in the top left very soon.
Yeah. Almost like it's a PvT now. SoulKey's going to get up behind to hit reinforcements. But once the queens have the broodling energy, because I'm sure the upgrade's already done, like, you just, like, you'll literally broodling every tank. And then you wait for them to remake all those tanks and broodling all the tanks after that. And there's not much more sand in the hourglass here for Sharp, because he never got a fourth base. Not that he can. And also that his other bases mine out very quickly. You can see they are going to mine out just about the same time as the main is. So this is basically 100% over.
Yeah, Sharp has rejoined his army together, which is really great, but the broodlings are ready. So now all of his siege shanks are going to start to get erased. And you can see already 3, 4, 5 tanks just picked off immediately there. And you can see, like, mech and Terran in general is so much about hitting critical mass. Like, just having the right set of units together where you overwhelm your opponent who has a bigger economy. And we're just not seeing him able to do that here. And yeah, with the tanks just about gone, a huge flank of Hydralisks coming in. And it looks like a little bit of in-game lag there for a second, but
yeah,
GG
I was like, is that
called.
my computer or what's going on right now? Yeah, very rare to ever see a computer struggle with Brood War, but yeah, great game there from SoulKey. Tough situation here for Sharp because he has to win 3 more games, and I think he's capable of taking a couple games off of SoulKey. We've already seen that happen, right? The question is, could he do 3 in a row? And I just don't know. And also, the maps continuing on from here are very different.
Yeah.
Minstrel, Monty Hall, I mean, these are maps that, yeah, I mean, it's just a very different beast.
Yeah, and I hope that Sharp can start picking up some more games here, or SoulKey's just going to be a 3-time champion. The thing is, that map, again, we expect it to be completely unwinnable. It's unfortunate that we, you know, I think this is part of the price we pay for having such interesting, cool, dynamic maps in StarCraft, is occasionally you get a map that in some matchup just can't be done. It gets figured out, and it's like, yep, that's bad, right? We had that with Sparkle.
Yeah.
I believe there were 0 Terran wins over Zerg ever on Sparkle at the pro level. It was literally 0 and 10 or something. And Kickback will turn into that. Like, you're not going to see Terran wins on this map against Zerg, but that was probably the last time we'll see it played professionally. And, you know,
I wouldn't mind.
Yeah.
Just if I could, I wouldn't mind actually seeing some ideas from Kickback put on to try to do an island map again or something like that.
Oh, okay.
You know, like you know, on some of these island maps, they just gave people, like Sparkle as an example, like a lot of bases and tried to see what would happen, and it was like, oh, this is actually like too good for Zerg here. But like, I wonder if you could do something like that where you try to merge Kickback and Sparkle, or I don't know. I mean,
I don't know.
We're going to be experimenting with maps forever here. It does make me wonder. It looks like they chose to highlight basically not the most important part of the game, but the part where this was far from over. I mean, this was already over like a long time ago.
Yeah.
I mean, dude, we might just have SoulKey do 3 StarLeagues in a row. I mean, this is wild. This is history in the making, guys.
It is an insane thing that we're seeing here. SoulKey edging ever closer to Bonjour status. He's up 3-1. We're going to go to a quick break, guys. When we come back, set 5. Can Sharp come back?
(2015년) 우리는 새로운 방식의 e스포츠와 게임에 대한 여정을 시작했습니다. 누구나 참여할 수 있는 e스포츠, 누구나 대회를 만들 수 있는 e스포츠, 그리고 누구나 중계할 수 있는 e스포츠. 우리는 많은 투자와 성장을 거치면서 e스포츠 방송의 확장과 변화를 만들어 왔습니다. 이제 우리는 또 다른 새로운 변화를 준비하고 있습니다. SOOP e스포츠, 우리의 또 다른 시작입니다. SOOP e스포츠는 단순한 이름의 변경이 아닙니다. 이는 우리의 비전과 가치, 그리고 앞으로 나아갈 방향을 새롭게 정의하는 과정입니다. 우리의 새로운 로고는 무한대를 상징화하며 끊임없는 성장과 끝없는 가능성을 표현합니다. 이 로고는 끊임없는 투자와 경쟁력을 상징하는 동시에 글로벌 e스포츠 플랫폼으로서의 역량을 강화하려는 우리의 의지를 담고 있습니다. 이를 토대로 우리는 SOOP e스포츠라는 최상위 브랜드를 두고 각종 인기 게임 리그들의 새로운 로고 또한 여러분들께 선보이려 합니다. 리그 오브 레전드, 발로란트, TFT, 스타크래프트, 철권. 이 로고들은 각각의 리그가 가진 독특한 정체성과 매력을 표현하면서도 SOOP e스포츠라는 큰 틀 안에서의 통일성을 유지하고 있습니다. 우리 SOOP e스포츠는 앞으로도 여러분과 함께 e스포츠의 새로운 역사를 써내려갈 것입니다. SOOP e스포츠, 무한한 가능성을 향해 도약합니다.
Welcome back, everybody. Fingers crossed here for Sharp's sake that he can actually start to take some more games. If he doesn't, if he messes up just one more time, SoulKey will have won his 3rd StarLeague in a row. Absolutely historic.
Yeah, that is something that really, I don't know if that will ever be equaled again. And I mean, he's in such great shape. What if he goes for a 4th, man? That would be insane. But the series isn't over until it's over. That last map shouldn't be taken too seriously. We're going to go into a map that is much more winnable, right? I believe Minstrel, yeah, it's Minstrel, then Montreal, then Radion. Minstrel is a 2-player map. In general, 2-player maps tend to favor Terran in the matchup. It is much harder for Zerg to end up securing a 4th base on 2-player maps because there is not another main with a small ramp or a main's natural where you would expand there and then take a 4th behind it. So 3-player map or 2-player maps. That's
really interesting.
Yeah, 2-player maps generally Terran will keep heavy pressure on, and the battle for the 4th base is way harder for Zerg because there's no natural 4-base setup on any 2-player map.
Oh, that's so interesting. But I guess in theory, you could just make a 2-player map that sort of looked a little bit more like a 4-player map.
Yeah, you could have
and like you could fix that, right?
You could have a 4-player map that just has 2 spawns, and that would just make it play exactly like a cross spawn. You know, it's cross spawn 4-player map, and that would be good for Zerg again. But yeah, 2-player maps. Like, I mean, I love the variety that we have, but this should be a bit more favored. Like, look, you can set up your 3rd where you want. They're all really wide open to attack. And then, like, even if you get your 3rd up, that doesn't secure your 4th. So that's the real problem with 2-player maps. And you can look at any 2-player map, and they're all like this. So, yeah, this is one where hopefully Sharp can start his comeback a bit.
Yeah, let's see what he tries to come up with here. Again, let's keep in mind that Sharp has shown, and by the way, this is very not like the Sharp that we saw through most of the season. Sharp has shown really good strategies, really winning ideas. It's been on the execution side where he's struggled. You know, we can think of that last game and remember Mech and Broodlings and Mass Muta, but really we should be remembering 2 Vultures that got the opportunity for Sharp and then ran into a corner where they got surrounded, right? Or a push in game 2 that looked like, wow, this is very solid, and then he drops the vessel. So execution's going to be key here if Sharp's going to take this. Guys, let's go into this next game between SoulKey and Sharp. That camera's so close to the... Oh, it's going to burn! Okay, so we've got SoulKey here in the bottom right, and it's Sharp here in the top left.
I'm excited. What are we gonna see, Sharp? Here is what I would like to see from Sharp. I think he should do a 2 Barracks Academy play with a wall, keep pressure on SoulKey, tech up quickly, and do something really decisive, whether it's a tank push, whether it's like 2 vessels and a 4 dropships, something like that, right? Keep that pressure on, do something decisive. Don't try to grind. Try to grind, that's where SoulKey gets you. Although if there were a map you could grind on, this would be it. Now that being said, this is a forward 8 racks.
Okay.
So this forward 8 racks, that is a very interesting position.
Yeah. If I could jump in for a second, the travel distance from these 2 mains is very far. Yes. It's farther than most maps. And this forward 8 racks, it's kind of, it's out of, I guess, it must be out of the scouting path if there was a drone to come through here. Mm-hmm. But that's still a pretty long distance, right?
It's still a pretty long distance, but an 8 racks is a pressure build. It's not meant to kill the hatchery. Occasionally it does. But it's really a build where you're just trying to maintain pressure on your opponent. And the place he placed it, not only is it hidden from a drone scout, as you said, but it does allow him a little flexibility with what he wants to do as the follow-up. And you can see he is going for the gas variation of this. So he'll end up making 3, maximum maximum tasteless for Marines for the pressure and going into a factory. And we don't know where he'll go from there, but definitely a very aggressive opener here from Sharp.
So this is, I think, really smart. It's interesting, though, because of the analysis that you were giving earlier, Tastosis, in that, Zergs have a hard time getting a fourth base on this map, so late game is, kind of, it creates its own problems. But I also really like what Sharp's doing by just skipping a normal game. I mean, especially because, you can get your forward 8 racks here and perfectly tweak this rush to do what it needs to do. So the drones are down here. He has seen now that this is coming for him, so he's going to send his drones to try to come out and basically intercept Marines, kill the SCV, do anything to sandbag the progress of this rush. But the targets here are the drones. That's the hard part for Zerg in this situation. The thing that keeps him alive is also exactly what Sharp needs to try to kill. He gets... Oh my god, it's so low.
A sloppy drone sent down to those mineral patches. I can't believe he saved the other one. But only one killed so far. This is not bad so far, but SoulKey actually had a drone up in that main base, so he knows what's going on. He's going to want to get a sunken down immediately.
Now, it does feel like if Zerg can just survive this, it's going to be kind of an awkward game as we get into mid-game. And I think the drone scout that SoulKey did was really genius. The fact that he knew to check for that. It's not just about keeping your drones alive and not, dying or losing too many workers to this rush. Oh, can he intercept this?
Yeah, I think he didn't have any idea a drone was down there. This was a perfect defense from SoulKey, really, when you look at it. Like, the sunken timing was perfect. If the Lings had gone out on the map, there was a possibility the Marines go in and stop the sunken from making, that type of thing. But as we're looking at it, they're both completely safe right now. Sharp is continuing up this tech route. I am not sure. It must be a Wraith. He must be going for a Wraith here.
Yeah, it's going to be Wraith play from here. Or could it be a drop? Could he try to drop Vultures? No, that doesn't make any sense.
If you drop Vultures, you almost always get the speed upgrade. Because, like, slow Vultures, like, they'll get some damage, but if you have speed Vultures that get in there, you can win the game off that. I guess you could technically with slow Vultures, but it's just like you have time to get the speed upgrade. Like, it finishes right around the time you're dropping. So, yeah, it looks like he is going for a Wraith. He has a couple Vultures out continuing to scout. You can see SoulKey here with the Hydralisk Den. And, of course, he has that sunken as well. Command Center on the high ground for Sharp, which is actually quite good. It's going to be hard for SoulKey to figure out exactly what's going on.
Okay, so he's going to try to target down these Overlords. When you go for the early Wraith, it's like the whole way the Zerg has to play the early game is entirely different, in case you're wondering. Like, you can't just tech up right into Mutas or worry about Lurker tech. You got to get those Hydras out immediately.
Yeah, the Hydra's coming out now. At least he scouts that right away. Look at this. Cloak coming up, an add-on coming up. He may want to make a bunker. Maybe he thinks he can just hold it with just regular units on the high ground. Okay, he does start a bunker. Actually, choose through those Lings. He probably should have saved those Lings for a little bit until the Hydras got there.
Yeah, that was a big mistake there. He does snipe one drone. Man, you're totally right, dude. He should have absolutely saved those Lings. If the Hydras and Lings had gotten there, he could have, like, maybe just burst up the ramp.
Maybe. As is, it just kind of, the game goes on. I would definitely say that SoulKey has an advantage here, but there's a lot of stuff that can happen. It's hard to figure out, again, what Sharp is going to be up to exactly. It looks to me like he's going to go Science Vessel plus Siege Tanks, I think. But, like, his production is going to be very low for a while. Evolution
so
Chamber.
The Evo Chamber starting down here. Seems like this game could kind of go either way. It's definitely a more interesting early game than the other stuff we've seen here. The Command Center is going to finally land. So that third base is going to be started. No third base in sight yet for SoulKey. And I don't think he can take one for a while now.
So the macro hatchery plus evolution chamber, and look at the mini map, the spread of hydras, like he's looking for any possible drop. This is actually a really, really old idea from SoulKey. Back when 111s were first emerging, 111s being the Terran strategy of Barracks Factory Starport Opener, which would be like Marine, Siege Tank, Science Vessel type of play, into more Barracks, obviously, and trying to utilize that composition. One of the big ideas that Zergs were playing with at that time was fast +1 carapace and just lots of Ling Hydra Lurker. Like that was, I think that's what SoulKey's planning on here, which is, it's kind of relying on the fact that your opponent's production gets up a little bit later and the Marine medic count's going to be a little bit lower. And like you make like a lot of stuff with decent upgrades. And like that, again, it's a very old idea. I haven't seen this in probably, I don't even know, man, like 6 years, 5-6 years it's been since I've seen a Zerg use this approach. But the build Sharp is doing is just about that old too. So really interesting position.
So, yeah, I mean, it's kind of crazy to see just, I know we say this all the time, but the range here on SoulKey, you know, he can do so many different styles of play here, and he seems to be able to pick up on which one he needs to use all the time.
Yeah.
That's too bad that there's a misplaced turret here. That's kind of wild to see in a StarLeague finals here. So, you know, the barracks explosion's always going to be a bit later if you do a one base, you know, 1-1-1 into a third command center, or sorry, second command center later.
So a greater spire or a spider coming up as well as a hive. What I spoiled what I wanted to say. There's a possibility he goes greater spire here. If you kind of sneakily go to greater spire against someone that's going 1 factory, 1 starport, they don't have the correct units to really deal with the guardians. It gets really, really tricky for Terran. And that can be like a really fun surprise play. And we've seen SoulKey do things like that occasionally.
Yeah, I feel like he's gone for Guardians more than any other Zerg in this matchup.
Yeah. I would definitely agree with that. And not a Guardian rush, but just like kind of an interesting late game, here's some Guardians, deal with them type of way.
Well, the tanks are going to be moving out here. So, you know, the Guardians, they may be a factor, but they're not going to do anything yet. What is your take on that Irradiate, by the way?
It's a terrible
on the one
Irradiate.
It makes
doesn't
no
even make sense.
I can't even
It's
believe.
a worse Irradiate.
What?
Yeah, now he's going to lose everything.
Why don't you just irradiate a Zergling?
GG.
Oh,
Dude.
my God. I can't believe he irradiated a Hydra. That's insane.
Yeah, it doesn't even kill him because they just always turn it into a Lurker. Like, irradiating, it's the worst target. It's better to irradiate an Overlord, a Scourge, a pack of Zerglings, a drone. It's the worst thing to irradiate is a Hydralisk.
Again, it's that execution that we're talking about here. It's like he has these cool strategies, but when you see him out on the map, it's like, what's he doing?
Yeah, it would have been much better to just save up for a defense matrix. There's not even a question there. Defense matrix is better when you're going siege tanks than irradiate is, unless there's mass muta. So now Sharp is
I can't believe we saw that.
He's pretty far behind, even though he's up in supply right now. This is a bad position. He's lost his tech units. He doesn't have a big army. He doesn't have any pressure on the map. SoulKey has a lot of production. He has his Defiler Mound. Everything's looking really, really superb for SoulKey right now.
So, oh no, okay. He's going to at least keep that away, and he's going to irradiate another Hydra. He's doubling down on these irradiates.
Yeah, I think he's just trying to use them. Just like throw things out. You know, that's one way to play against Zerg is just do everything as quickly as you can, and hopefully, you know, you start getting damage everywhere. Now, this drop coming by is going to find 6 o'clock Tasteless, and I don't know that he can actually do anything against it.
Yeah, this is like a counterintuitive place to expand, which is why the Terran never looks there, and the Terran only wanted to drop into the main. That was actually the plan here. So you sort of inadvertently find this base. Positionally, this is not that easy to hold either, by the way. Now, if he gets Dark Swarm, anything can be held, but it's definitely an uncomfortable spot to have. But the truth is that he got away with it because no one's looking there, you know?
Yeah. It's a kind of a smart location because of that. It's like such a weird path to go down. And now he's got top right as well, which is the more common base to end up taking that's like so far away from everything and small chokes to get into. Now, Sharp is trying to move out onto the map. Sharp still has a bit of a supply advantage. Still flying around with the dropship. And he finds this base now with the dropship. Man, he knows that this is rough. This is a tough game to win right now.
Yeah, he's moving out.
There we go.
We've got a factory being built.
That's the best thing we could see here from him. He needs to minimum go heavy siege tank. It doesn't need to be a mech switch, but like I think on this map, you actually just straight have to go siege tanks, like lots of them. It's too hard to control all the different angles. This is some decent pressure. He actually tries to break in with the fire bats.
He gets another irradiate on that defiler.
He actually popped one of those with the 2 fire bats. Wow, I think the fire bats might...
That's wild.
Yeah, they actually cleared 2 lurkers there. I think there was some mistargeting from SoulKey, perhaps. But really, really well done. Look at this. He's hitting another location. So he's keeping SoulKey really busy over here, even though that's not going to end up doing too much. Can he deal some damage on this side? I think SoulKey should be able to push in, but even if you could deny the gas here, that would be pretty strong.
Yeah, I mean, you'll take whatever you can get. Okay, so he's going to move forward. There are some spider mines out here. It looks like he can keep the... Oh, no, the lurker can actually hit the tank, so that tank's going to go down no matter what. No fire bats here, so no way to force this. He's going to have to wait for the Dark Swarm to dry up, but I think it might be too late. It seems like Terran tried to set up several, angles to attack in and didn't really succeed in any. It's too bad that drop, we didn't really take much time to talk about this, but there was a drop in the natural as the push was coming out. From the Terran, but it didn't get anything done. He actually dropped the medic first, which is still just sitting over there in the chaos that is this game.
There's definitely some chaos going on. SoulKey is kind of taking over that top lane a little bit. He's got this bottom lane midway through, and he's got defense further back on the middle lane. So he's really controlling the pace of the game. Sharp is trying to get his 3rd base up. He's trying to make something happen. I do like, if you look at, like, I guess, counting top to bottom, like lane 2, you can see on the mini-map, he's got some yellow blobs walking around, and it's kind of choking off the top right, but there is a Nidus, so it's still really hard to break.
So, at this point in time, Zerg's got the 4 bases up. There doesn't seem to be any real weak point here. There's no real place to come in and try to do damage. Up at this place, well, because he's got the Niduses everywhere, it's like so easy to just pop a Defiler through, throw a Dark Swarm down. If you're fast enough too, a trick is you throw the Dark Swarm and then shoot the Defiler back into the Nidus so it can't be irradiated.
Yeah.
But, I mean, the sheer number of Defilers that are out now, it just seems like there isn't any progress being made anywhere. And, the bigger issue here that Sharp is facing is that SoulKey now is on 4 functional bases with Dark Swarm done. And that means, as we see right here with the Ultralisk popping out, we're going to go into that next phase of TVZ, which is the end game here, where you actually can support Ultralisks. You can kind of get away with Ultras on 3 gases, but when you get 4, that's when you can really turn the whole dynamic of TVZ on its head, where now the Zerg gets to pick its fights and the Terran really has to stay back and turtle.
You can outpace vessel production, like irradiates, with Ultra Defiler on those 4 gases, and that's where, like, the thing is, you have to play really clumped up against Ultras, you have to play really spread out against Defilers. So when you combine them, there's no good answer from Terran. It's like, your one good answer might be, oh, I am maxed out on siege tanks or something like that. The Bioforce just doesn't do much. So this is getting really scary. When you see that type of army, you better be just about to win, because if you're not, you're just about to lose.
Okay, so the Ultras are coming out. Spider Mines are very necessary here because they can really, over time, whittle the Ultralisks down. The Radiates turn onto the Ultralisks as well. This is going to be some pretty nice micro. When you see just Ultras, they're much weaker than if you have Ultras with a couple Zerglings there.
Very true.
But regardless, I mean, they're still powering through all this stuff.
Yeah, with their Radiates plus the Bio, he will end up clearing that, but there's more to come. SoulKey setting up another base, but of course Sharp is denying a little bit of mining over there, which is kind of nice. I think probably we'll see him just send a group of Lings down there to clear that out.
So, I mean, the game is going to go on. I think we're going to get into a much later game. I mean, the Zerg is kind of now being able to try to come in here and take some fights. We're going to try to take down this third base. If the third base is taken down, I think this game won't have much time left in it. He throws down a Dark Swarm.
Yeah.
And I think SoulKey kind of misplayed this. I think he threw a little bit too much too early. Like, imagine if what we're seeing rallying across here had been comboed with all the stuff that he had just lost.
Yeah. It's a little bit sloppy, but like just slowing him down like this, keeping him back in position. Like Sharp is going to be playing cleanup forever right now.
Because there's no tanks over here, you could even just Dark Swarm behind the mineral patches and they never mine from there.
Yeah, you could do that as well.
You know what I mean? Like,
it's all about the radiates helping to clear that. Ooh, that was a great mine right there. But SoulKey is on top of everything. Sharp's rally points can't even come out right now because there's Dark Swarms where they're supposed to bring it. Look at this. He's got Dark Swarms going up to the third base. It's just a matter of time before we see the GG here from Sharp, I think, Tasteless. A little bit of an anticlimactic last victory here, but SoulKey is about to be a 3-time-in-a-row champion.
I mean, it's really a remarkable feat here, and he just looked almost untouchable the whole way through this tournament here. It's going to close out with just complete domination, classic endgame TVZ here. Lings, Ultras, Defilers, and Lurkers crush through, and SoulKey has made history. It's already incredible to win a StarLeague. The fact that he's won 3 in a row,
unbelievable.
Unbelievable. Unbelievable.
This tournament has been one dominated by just a few people. Flash with the most wins, SoulKey with 3 in a row, Queen had 2 in a row before. It is pretty absurd to see just how strong some of these players are. And SoulKey right now, I think the conversation has to start. Are we going to have him declared a Bonjour or not? It's hard to say. We'll see what the Korean scene says about that. But he is your champion for this season. 3 in a row. He looks completely unbeatable. He's figured out this game in a way that no Zerg has in the past.
And of course, with Flash just around the corner, returning to StarCraft again, I can't wait to see these two guys possibly duke it out, whether it's early on or in a finals for this season. I see Castor Park coming down, so we're going to be going to that interview now. Let's see how SoulKey's feeling, making history, winning another StarLeague.
Truly unparalleled in the history of Zerg. He has set a great record. 3 championships in a row, a three-peat. It's SoulKey. Atop his impenetrable fortress that he's built, he has now claimed the championship trophy. Let's have a word with SoulKey. So many players have tried. Countless have said that as a Zerg, this is too difficult. This is impossible. And SoulKey, you are the champion. You showed us a perfect match today as well. Not only that you did not falter throughout those games, with so many eyes watching this three-peat come to fruition. The trophy is yours. You are the protagonist. How do you feel? 3 back-to-back championships. What do I even say? Rather than being happy, I'm just calm. I'm speechless. This championship, I knew I would get it. This confidence, in reality, when you're playing on the final stage, your family came here to support you. So did your fans, your colleagues, your friends. It is nerve-wracking. It's difficult to show 100%. But regardless, you always perform without that stress and you live the trophy. In the history of Zerg, in the history of ASL, SSL, you have reached the peak of Zerg performance. What drives you so to perform this well, to set this impressive record? I think I've just come to realize how to play in an offline setting. It's an important aspect for tournaments to go well. And this tournament as well, right up until the end with the finals, I received help from Calm, specifically with builds. So Calm, get ready to call me the big bro now. I've had a lot of help. I practiced with a lot of people. For instance, Light helped me figure out how to use Mutalisks. JYJ, Mind, Rush, Barracks, you helped me practice, and I'm thankful for that. And above all, there is a lot of fans here. They cheered you on with great fervor. There are people who are wiping away tears as they cover their face. They have been so moved. Any words of thanks, these people? Thank you for coming in numbers to support me. I will always work hard. Big thanks to our C9 members. You guys gave me strength. And now Terra, watching this from home, thanks for looking after me. And my hands were a little cold. Hyuk grabbed a hot pack for me, thank you. Even bringing you a hot pack, right. So next season, 4 championships in a row. You have already defeated all 3 races. Now 4 in a row. Next season will not be easy. Great players will be getting ready to tear down this wall. And one player is getting ready to show up in a bulldozer. So many challenges lay ahead. How do you see the next season? Next season, I want to meet Flash in the finals. Please look forward to the next season. Are you confident, sure that you can win the next season? As of now, I have that confidence still. Still confident, okay. Please put your hands together for our champion SoulKey. Once again, congratulations. We will proceed with the ceremony, so please go back to your seat for a moment. The long-awaited grand final concludes with an epic match as SoulKey claims the trophy. We will now proceed with the awards ceremony of KB Live Mobile 2024 SOOP StarLeague Autumn, starting with the runner-up award. Helping us present the prize, he is always working hard to help move esports forward, a source of strength. Please welcome the president of SOOP Corporation, Mr. Jong Chan-yong. A long-awaited grand final, concluding with a three-peat. And above all, a lot of effort from our players that resulted in a great season. He gave it everything he had. We will now present the runner-up with his award. 2024 SOOP StarLeague Autumn, done in partnership with KB Live Mobile, communication done my way. The runner-up, Sharp. With ardor, he made the finals after 8 years, always giving his best, always moving his fans. It's Sharp. Congratulations once more. 10 million won and a second place seed into the next season go your way. One more time, please give Sharp a warm round of applause for his efforts. Oh, we have a bouquet coming as well. Thank you for being with us. And also, a round of applause to Mr. Jong Chan-yong, the CEO of SOOP. Thank you. Once more, we are very grateful. And now, the champion ceremony. 2024 SOOP StarLeague Autumn. Communication done my way. They were our sponsor this season. Helped us a great deal. It's a bank I've personally been using for 30 years. Please welcome Mr. Lee Jun-ho, the director of the mobile business branch at Kookmin Bank. An esports-friendly bank, KB Kookmin Bank, joins us here today for the matches as our sponsor. cheering the players on alongside the fans. What was it like to join us for this season of the SOOP StarLeague? Hello, I'm Lee Chun-ho, the director of the mobile business branch at KB Kookmin Bank. Coming down to the studio today to watch the grand final match, I felt how many people follow esports. I felt all the energy. Communication done my way with KB Live Mobile from KB Kookmin Bank. We will work hard to support esports. Thank you. Once again, thank you for joining us this season. We look forward to your support of esports. Thank you. We will work hard. We will proceed with the long-awaited champion ceremony. Communication done my way with KB Live Mobile 2024 SOOP StarLeague Autumn. The long-awaited champion, unmatched, setting a grand record, 3 championship runs in a row as a Zerg. Let's bring him on stage. It's the Iron Wall. It's SoulKey. An impenetrable fortress like no other, defeating fierce opponents. He claims the championship trophy. SoulKey receives 30 million won, and on top of the championship trophy, a 3 back-to-back golden trophy alongside, earning numerous titles and making a mark on history. Please put your hands together once more for the champion SoulKey. And for helping us make esports this awesome, big thanks and a round of applause for Mr. Lee Chun-ho, the director of the mobile business branch at Kookmin Bank. And that does it for the grand final. We started with the qualifiers in the sweltering August heat. This splendid finish was possible only with the fans who always join us on this stage and send their support with great fervor. Thanks to you, esports can flourish in this atmosphere. Once more, congratulations to SoulKey on his championship run. And we would like to thank their players for their efforts this season. We will come back even cooler next season. We would also like to thank the production and management teams for their work. We will close things out with the trophy lift, and it's not your run-of-the-mill ceremony. There is a trophy celebrating 3 championships in a row waiting there, and the KB Live Mobile 2024 SOOP StarLeague Autumn Trophy. I can't wait to see how SoulKey manages with 2 trophies to celebrate. It's time to say goodbye. We will be back next season. Thank you for being with us.
Man, this was a hell of a season, Artosis.
It was. This was epic. I absolutely loved this season. Thank you guys again so much for supporting on the Patreon all year long. That's patreon.com/ASL English. We couldn't do without you guys. And to see these stories, these legacies being built for a game released in the 90s here in 2024 is something else.
It's incredible. And next year is going to be even better. I guarantee it. With SoulKey looking unstoppable, who knows, he might actually be able to just beat Flash. I know that, it sounds crazy to think this guy's won 3 StarLeagues and we're still like, oh, is it going to happen? Can he take out Flash? But you never know what the future holds. Times change. But I can tell you one thing, the future is bright with this game. And as Artosis said, yeah, consider supporting us on Patreon. I'm super stoked for the next season and continue on. With a history of the greatest game ever made, StarCraft Brood War.
Thank you for watching, guys, and with that, we will leave you with this trophy kissing ceremony. Thanks for watching all season, and we'll see you in the next season.
모든 날들의 어느 열렬한 다시 듣던 말이 날 쉬게 하는 거라는지 기분 좋았으면 또 어떻게든 밤이 되었나 어둡던 눈부시게 밝을 소박한 거나 특히 고요한 그 뻔한 날들의 어느 열렬한 관객이 될게 난 나의 너를 믿어 You're stunning, so stunning Good 이 느낌이야 발라 디스코 힙합 상관없어 널 끌리는 대로 해 좋아하는 땀도 그대로 I'm stunning, just stunning you 막이 오르는 순간 좀 자리 없길 바라 너라 어린아이처럼 가슴죽인 무대 한가운데에서 그저 넌 나도 함께 웃어줘 날 안아줘 난 너의 나를 믿어 You're stunning, so stunning good 노래를 이어가 Country classic lo-fi 상관없어 너 끌리는 대로 해 좋아하는 또 그대로 I'm stunning, just stunning you Just by you 가는 말에 승리를 이뤄 I'm stunning, just stunning you
We are young, we are free, we are what we want to be. Feel the rhythm, feel the beat, move your body to the streets. Sun is shining, sky so bright, dance together through the night. No more worries, let them go. In this moment, let